I can't choose. Money keep coming in, I can't lose. Foreign girls in their tens, I can't choose. Money keep coming in, I can't lose. Foreign girls in their tens, I can't choose. I got different colors on my dimes, got different colors on my mind, foreign colors in the time. This the ones they want to ride. This is the time they want to slide. Double tap it. I like the way you do it. You do it. You do it. Money keep coming in. I can't lose. Foreign girls in their tens. I can't choose. Money keep coming in. I can't lose. Foreign girls in their tens. I can't choose. I like the way you do it. You do it. You do it. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. I'm just trying to turn you down, baby. Foreign girls in their tens. I can't choose. I got different colors on my diamonds. Hey, double tap, hit the like button, man. Mega Thursday. Relax and talk sports. First in the building. First in the chat, get shouted out without a doubt. First in the chat, get shouted out without a doubt. Double tap hit the like button as you come in. You know what you watching, man. Perfect Timing Podcast. Trump news, Trump news, Trump news. Giving Democrats the boo. Did y'all see? Oh, man. You know what? I got a lot of fire today. I got a lot of fire today. But I saw something, man. I'm gonna see if we can pull it up, man. But everybody as you come in, man. Everybody should come in, man. Have a good Thursday, man. Let's have a good day, man. Let's get the debate. America wins. America wins. We won. Trump was right. I was right. Trump was right. I was right. Oh, America wins. Whoa, that MAGA. Whoa, that MAGA. Double tap, hit the like button. I mean, come on, man. We've been doing these predictions, man, for Relax and Talk Sports, man. How long have you been here, man? How long? I've been predicting this since the shutdown in 2025. I've been predicting this since they was hating on the tariffs August 1st, 2025. What did the tariffs do? The tariffs made GDP go up. What did the tariffs do? They said the tariffs would make inflation go up to 7%. Inflation went down. The tariffs are the reason we have command in the world right now. Today, I'm going to go into Cuba. Cuba has a backlog of 96,000 people in their hospitals. There's a lot of people talking about Iran this and Iran that. But you know what I love doing to celebrate my president, to celebrate my country, to celebrate our victories? Is that just bring out some honesty and some truths that people are ignoring. And people are ignoring what the reality is on the ground. What is the 90 million people, the reality for Iranians on the ground, even before February 28th? Somebody said there were so many protests in Iran that the war actually galvanized the people because the people were so against the current regime and government. They were protesting every day. Did you guys know that? Double tap, hit the like button. What I am talking about is the actual damage that we've done that I don't know why liberal media, legacy media, why everybody is not being honest about the actual damage that we've actually done to Iran. When I'm talking about beyond what Trump has said about the naval ships, the airships, the blockade, but yesterday I reported to you about the food shortages. No one's talking about the food shortages, and I'm linking it to Cuba, looking at how, because people say regime change is impossible. They don't know what's happening to these countries. They don't know what's happening since we went to Venezuela. You have no idea about the backlog and truly what's happening on the ground in Cuba, truly what's happening on the ground in Iran. Cuba hospitals have been closed for months. People are not getting dialysis. People are not getting their radiation. People are not getting their Coumadin. People are not able to go. 96,000 backlog. And the same thing is plaguing Iran even before February 28th. So when people say Iran this, I say America won, Trump was right. Double tap hit the like button as you come in. Double tap hit the like button as you come in. 96,000 backlog. 96,000 backlog in Cuba. You can't even go to a hospital. Universities and schools are closed down. They have no fuel. This has been since January. The same thing is befalling Iran. I reported to you yesterday, how many people know that there is a food shortage in food lines in Iran? Iranians are not able to get bread. The soldiers not getting paid. This is going back, and this is not starting today. I'm just the only one reporting on the ground the American victory and why the regime will fall, because what I said and reported yesterday is that the contract was broken. The social, see, we're dealing with similar aspects in America. If the Democrats weren't in power trying to be so divisive, we would be able to have similar conversations about this and build on this in America, because we all can relate to the social contract being broken. Double tap, hit the like button. Hey, let's not move slow on the likes today. Let's not move slow on the likes today. This is a hot like fire Thursday. Hot like fire. This is a hot like fire Thursday. Let's not move slow on the likes today. Let's not do that. That's not what we're going to do. We're going to keep the likes going today. We're going to keep the likes going today. Double tap hit the like button as you come in. Subscribe, hit the plus sign, become a member. Hit the plus sign, become a member. Subscribe, hit the like button. This is the #1 podcast on YouTube for geopolitical debate. Double tap, hit the like button. Welcome, you're welcome, welcome to the Perfect Timing Podcast. Welcome to the #1 podcast on YouTube for political and geopolitical debate. Double tap, hit the like button as you come in. Welcome, you're welcome. I know a lot of people be like, I gotta catch this guy live, man. Relax and Talk Sports had people starving, people being hung, and religious groups being murdered, hospitals shut down. Where do we start, my brother? Double tap hit the like button. This before February 28th. This before. See, people don't want to understand the reality. The TDS is strong, man. I mean, what do you want? People hate Trump so bad that they want us to lose. But the fact of the matter is, we got 3 aircraft carriers. You know what I reported yesterday? Why you were sleeping. What I reported yesterday, why you were sleeping. We got 3 aircraft carriers in the building. And I said, what I keep saying to people is, how long will we stay in the region? As we talk today about supply chains breaking down, global supply chains, and America being insulated. The thing that you'll hear a lot about supply chains, about medicine, about food, about gas and prices. What you won't hear is no one will say America is insulated. This is why Stallmer is talking shit. This is why Macron just made a deal with Iran. Did you know Macron in France just bought some oil from Iran? Everybody is starving but America. America has over the amount of, it's like 5 million in gas. So we the #1 gas suppliers. We're going to be the #1 fertilizer suppliers. I got the information. I got the receipts. We're going to run down the receipts. I said in my title, I said 7 reasons why America won, 7 things what America has done. Before we get into the famine, before we get into the starvation, y'all want to get into my 7? Y'all want to get into my magical 7, top 7? 725. How far can you drive for 725? How many states in the pie make 725? Let's get into that magical 7. It's a magical number. It's a magical number. I want to go over my 7 ways America wins, because I gotta support the argument. Double tap hit the like button, man. Double tap hit the like button, man. Get them likes up, man. Get them likes up, man. We staying, my boy. That's what you hear in the chat. The chat said we staying, my boy. See, this is a historical context. When I'm saying these things, this is not just bluster. This is not just the loud talking black MAGA. This is the reality on the ground. Everybody double tap the screen, hit the like button as you come in, man. Subscribe to the Perfect Timing Podcast, man. When I say how long will we be there, as I start the podcast with famine, as I start the podcast with starvation, as I start the podcast with food lines, as I start the podcast with hospital closures and backlogs, You understand what I'm saying? You don't hear this on CNN. You don't hear this on legacy media. They want to hate and poo-poo on Trump. They won't tell you the reality on the ground. And this is why it's relevant when I ask and say, how long will we be in the region? How long will we be in the region? It's ultimately relevant. How long will we be in the region? Because if you understand the argument and what we're presenting today, if you understand the argument and what we're presenting today, it is so important. How long? The question of how long can we be in the region? How long will we be in the region? You know what I'm saying? Y'all double tap, hit the like button, man. Double tap, hit the like button. It's so important, man, that you hit the like button early, that you hit the subscribe button early, that you subscribe to the channel, hit the plus sign, become a member, tap into the #1 podcast on YouTube for geopolitical and political debate. How's everybody doing today on this hot like fire Thursday, man? We coming in hot, heated up, man. Hot, heated up. We about to get into the 7. I'm gonna pin me a comment. Before we get into the top 7. We got a lot to break down today, man. Global supply change, and then it becomes deeper, right? It becomes the NATO argument that me and my channel, me and my audience, we already knew about what Trump has said, Marco Rubio has said. We predicted it, but we already read the Republican budget. So when Marco Rubio came out and said, why do we need to be partners with NATO? MAGA knew the climate. I knew that was coming. For months now, Relax and Talk Sports, everybody in my chat, how long have we said fuck NATO in the chat? How long have we broke down Keir Starmer? A lot of the people who hate on Trump, who hate on the Republicans, you actually hating on America, you don't know enough about these topics. You don't know who Keir Starmer is. You don't know who Macron is. You don't know who the dirty Pedro Sanchez in Spain being a free rider, in Spain not even paying their fair share in NATO. Why should we protect Spain? Double tap the like button. Why should we protect Spain? What does Spain offer us? They wouldn't let us use the bases. They talk shit, called us terrorists, right? And then they don't even pay their fair share when it comes to NATO. Why should we be in NATO? So when Trump came back, everybody is playing right into Trump's hands and playing into the hands of America. When Trump came back and said the same thing Marco Rubio and MAGA has already been saying, we already knew it was coming, that there is no need for NATO, especially when you break down the intricacies of what I've taught my audience, even going back to 2021, because a lot of Democrats and a lot of TikTok purple hair protesting liberals talk about this agreement that Obama created and supposedly Joe Biden, but Joe Biden failed to get an agreement in 2021. But you know what people don't talk about when they bring up the Barack Obama and that failed agreement? I call it a failed agreement because it allowed for proxy violence to increase. It allowed for them to enrich uranium, and it took away sanctions and allowed them to make a bunch of money, and then they empowered the proxies. But the worst thing is when Trump took us out of the deal, put sanctions on Iran, they weren't able to cause violence in the region. But Biden comes back, leaves Afghanistan, but guess who was at the negotiation table in Vienna in 2021 as we get into this NATO conversation? Well, it wasn't America. It wasn't Biden. It wasn't your favorite vice president, the black queen of Wakanda, Kamala, Wakanda. Nah, America wasn't there. It was EU. The Europeans negotiated on behalf of us during that time. Can y'all believe that? So Joe Biden, sleepy Joe Biden, allowed the Europeans to negotiate for us in 2021, and then the negotiations failed. It wasn't Trump. It was again NATO working for their own interests. This is something that Republicans and conservatives have noticed for a long time, that Europe is not working in our own interest. What I ask a lot as we get into this, a lot of people talk about an Israeli boogeyman, right? Israel got us into the war in Iran. But no one ever talks about how we got into the war in the Ukraine, and Starmer and France and Europe manipulating America to help them support the Ukraine against Russia when America has no issue with Russia. This is why Tulsi Gabbard is going to prosecute Obama and the Clinton mafia because they created that Russia hoax. There is no more Red Scare. There is no communism. There is no socialist communism Russia that we need to be afraid of in America. America has no issue and no fear of Russia. Russia has demographic issues, just like Iran. They have issues with money. They have issues with food. Russia got its own shit to deal with. And Russia would need a friend and a partner like America. But who is directly right proximity to Russia? Well, Starmer, Macron, NATO, EU, this is the same thing I said in the debate the other day. I understand why Iran is upset after what happened in 1944, after what happened in 1953. I understand why Iran is upset. I say the same thing to Europe. I understand NATO, Europe, Macron, France. I understand your concern. Listen to this. This is Americans, not the purple hair protesters. This is Americans with true intellect and understanding of geopolitics. Macron, Starmer, we get it. I understand why you might have fear and anxiety from a growing and a more powerful Russia. We don't have that same fear and anxiety. There's nothing, but you have proximity to Russia. So you need Ukraine as a buffer, but you should be focused on your immigration issues and Islam taking over Europe, but you're not worried about that. Instead, you want to make up a paper tiger and say Russia is your biggest worry. I disagree. I believe you have Brexit in place because Russia is not your biggest worry, and I don't believe Russia is your biggest concern. You need to be focused on Islamic immigration, but be that as it may, I truly do understand why you see a growing power like Russia who may take Belarus, who may take Ukraine, the Donbass region. I see that encroaching upon you, right? I get that. But what happened is America, like people are saying, Israel manipulated America into Iran. What happened was, if you understand this, what does that have to do with American principles? Right? Why don't the Democrats ever bring up the fact that Europe, NATO, Starmer, Macron manipulated Biden and tricked America into a $300 billion debacle in the Ukraine, knowing that the Ukraine could never defeat Russia. Russia is a major world power, a nuclear power. They've simply been playing with Ukraine this entire time. When people say and wonder about how long will we maintain this conflict in Iran, just look at Russia. Look how long Russia has been in conflict with the Ukraine and haven't used a nuclear missile. They have nukes. Russia has more nukes than anybody. Why haven't they nuclearized Ukraine? It's the same thing with America. They don't have to. They don't have to nuclearize Ukraine. Ukraine cannot defeat Russia on any day. And it is absolute propaganda when you hear anything about Ukraine doing well. Iran cannot beat America on any day. It's not a nuclearized country. America will play with them like a cat with a ball of yarn until they are done. This is the reality. So what I am saying to you is, why don't the people who say Israel is a boogeyman, why don't they bring up the NATO boogeyman? Why don't they bring up the European boogeyman who actually did manipulate Biden into fighting in the Ukraine? And what did Trump say? Trump said, if I was president, we would never have spent $300 billion in the Ukraine and going to war in the Ukraine, using Ukraine as a proxy against Russia. Double tap at the like button. Where are these realities? Where are these questions? Where are these realities? Oh, Bibi Netanyahu in Israel is the ones who made us go to Iran. But where's the discussion about the Ukraine? We haven't spent $300 billion in Iran, and we haven't been in Iran for years. When did we first start the Ukraine effort? It was going back to 2022, right? So we've been in Ukraine for multiple years, billions, hundreds of billions of dollars. The reason we have less missiles now is because we wasted missiles protecting Macron and Starmer, who did not give a fuck about us when we went to Iran. Can everybody, let's be honest about the geopolitical math on the ground. When people are talking about America doesn't have any missiles, we spared missiles in the fucking Ukraine because Starmer and manipulated Biden. Double tap hit the like button. But we can't talk about that. We can't talk about, because see, the Israelis manipulating us is bullshit. Israel and Bibi Netanyahu manipulating America is bullshit because America is benefiting. The petrodollar is strong. Everyone is buying oil and gas and fertilizer from America and the petrodollar. Israel is not benefiting. See, that's bullshit. It's easy. It's like a wet paper. It falls away quickly. It disintegrates like a wet paper towel, right? The reality, though, that does not disintegrate, you know what doesn't go away? There is no reality behind Israel being the ones behind this Iran conflict. There's nothing behind that. You can't prove that, right? But I can solidify and prove that the Europeans manipulated the Americans into a fight in the Ukraine. And we used missiles and billions of dollars, and we wasted missiles and billions of dollars in the Ukraine, protecting Starmer and Macron in Spain, who just said fuck you. This is a reality. See, you gotta go real far to try to say Bibi Netanyahu and Israel is behind this, and Bibi Netanyahu and Israel benefit. They don't benefit from the Straits of Hormuz being closed. And what else did I say to you? When Biden left Afghanistan, who got beat up? Who's getting beat up right now? Not one American city has been bombed. Tel Aviv has bombs raining on it. Lebanon bombing Tel Aviv. Iran bombing Tel Aviv. The Houthis bombing. Everybody getting past the Iron Dome. Citizens, not soldiers, everyday citizens in Israel have to hide. Your children are not hiding. American children don't fear bombs. There are no capital cities in America that have been bombed. Whenever you talk about this logically, no one ever has an answer. If Israel is the great Palpatine, if Israel is winning and benefiting, how do they benefit from the strength of the petrodollar? How do they benefit from our oil tankers and everything? How do they, you know, I got facts on Venezuela. As I did my research today, do you guys know that we got 70 million barrels in America and that Venezuela is shipping crude to America? Venezuela is shipping crude to America. Chevron is in Venezuela. What I would love to ask people, how does Israel benefit from our newfound wealth in Venezuela? Billions of dollars right now. This is not talked about because the Iran is ruling the media. Iran is ruling the media. But tell me, I just did my research. We're going to talk about it today. We're just getting started. We've only been 20 minutes. But in Venezuela, I'm going to present later in the show. You guys make sure you stay tuned. Double tap at the like button. Hit the like button, everybody right now watching, man. Hit the like button, everybody right now watching. What we're going to talk about later is how much oil and money have we made in Venezuela since we took Maduro. I'm going to talk about that later because everyone's not being honest. We have shortages. Everywhere else in the globe is dealing with the shortage. America is dealing with abundance. How can people argue that this was not wise on behalf of Donald Trump when everybody is dealing with supply chain shortages, oil and fuel shortages, and America is in abundance? We are in so much abundance that we are the sellers now. Do you understand? Everybody has shortages. And this oil shortage that's happening from us closing the Straits of Hormuz is affecting food, is affecting medicine, but not American hospitals. Is everybody listening? Not American hospitals, Cuban hospitals, Iranian hospitals, Russian hospitals, European hospitals, but not American hospitals. Food supply chain. Do you know of all the ships that are stranded in the Straits of Hormuz? Do you know what's on those ships? Do you know what's on those ships? Well, what's on those ships are tankers full of medicine. How many people understand? Tankers full of medicine. These ships are just stuck in the Straits of Hormuz, so they can't get food. They can't get medicine. Do you guys understand what this is? What we're looking at right now? This is. Do you see this? They can't get food. They can't get medicine. They can't get flour to make bread. Yesterday, I reported to you that there are food and supply lines in Iran, that soldiers are going hungry. Soldiers, children, and wives are going hungry. But why? They can't trade. They can't trade. Look at this. This is the Straits of Hormuz. This is what 3 aircraft carriers, 10,000 soldiers. The last week, Every time we've had a ceasefire. Do you guys understand Trump is a genius? Do you guys understand Trump is a genius? Every time we've had a ceasefire, what has Trump done? He says, I'll give him 5 days. And in that day's time, he brings in another aircraft carrier. First ceasefire, 1 aircraft carrier. Second ceasefire, 2 aircraft carriers. We just finished the last ceasefire. Trump said no more ceasefire, 3 aircraft carriers. While you were sleeping, UUVs, unmanned underwater submarines, UUVs. Remember where you heard it first. Because everybody talks about these mines on the floor of Straits of Hormuz. So while you were sleeping and while he said, oh, I'll give him another 5 days, he got 3 aircraft carriers. But you guys, listen, more troops are on the way. Pete Hegseth said, this is only 10% of our Navy. And they don't have any food. Only 10% of our Navy, and I'm the only one reporting to you on the internet that Iran is starving. Iran has a food and supply chain problem. Take a look at what I am showing you right now. What I am saying to you is they have an inability to get food to the people, to get medicine to hospitals because the Straits of Hormuz are closed. This is not rhetoric. This is not yelling. This is not bluster. What is happening in Iran is the same thing happening in Cuba. Cuba has a backlog of over 90,000 individuals who cannot see doctors. I repeat, Cuba has a backlog of over 90,000 individuals who cannot see doctors because Cuba has been in an embargo since February. I said since January. I said Cuba has an embargo and they can't even see patients.
Is a desperate response to the resolve of the Cuban people. I think it's clear that there is no agreement in American society. There's no consensus. There's no support for the type of violent policies of the Trump administration towards Cuba. The real agenda holders behind this mouthpiece are a small minority within the Cuban American community that have essentially, for decades, have had a far-right agenda to basically wage war on their own country in order to reclaim what they claim to have lost, which is absolute power, corruption, land, and resources that in Cuba belong to them as a small minority as well. This could be resolved by talking to each other in a serious and honest way. Yet most Americans, when they hear that, must know that it's the US president, Donald Trump, who cannot ever engage in an honest and meaningful way. He is a pathological liar. He is an irrational egomaniac, and is someone who ultimately uses negotiations actually as a ploy to give himself time to wage attacks on other countries. So I think a lot of it has been laid bare to the American people, and that changes, I think, a lot of the dynamics and puts real constraints on what the Trump administration is actually capable of doing at this point. At this point, there are over 96,000 people who are online or waiting in queues to get surgeries. And
did you hear the over 96,000 people who are online waiting in queues to get surgery? 11,000 children amongst tens of thousands waiting for surgery in Cuba due to U.S. blockade. Y'all hearing it first right here. I'm giving you the facts on the ground. It's not pretty. War is not pretty. War is not pretty, but this is the reality. War is not pretty, but this is the reality. Cuba has a backlog of 90,000 people who can't get into the hospitals. This is the reality right now on the ground in Cuba. Double tap, hit the like button as you come in, man. Double tap, hit the like button. Let's get them likes up, man. Let's get them likes up, man. We are talking about the American victory. Trump won. I was right. America wins. Trump was right. I was right. And we giving the receipts today. We giving the receipts today. Double tap, hit the like button. Trump wins. 7 different reasons why. We starting off in Cuba, just educating people what's going on in Cuba and Iran. And I got a video in Iran, same thing, food lines, people starving in Iran. Soldiers not eating, children not eating, social contract broken down. How long will it last, bro? How long will it last? It's a valid question, bro. How long will it last? Straight up. How long will they be able to keep this going? The people were already protesting before February 28th. Now you add into that what the facts I'm bringing out today. How long? How long? And it's the same thing in Cuba. It's the same thing in Cuba. We got Marco Rubio working in back channels and been working with the Cuban people. They just left Cuba. They just left Cuba, talking to leadership there. So what I am saying is that regime change will come in Cuba without one boot on the ground. And a similar fate will befall Iran. And it's because of what we've done. Because what Trump has done. Double tap hit the like button. Double tap hit the like button as you come in. Double tap hit the like button. Let's keep going. Let's go over to 7. Let's go over to 7. Let's go over to 7. Let's go over to 7 real quick. Let's go over to 7. I like Cubano. I will pay you. I want U.S. doctors. Let's go over to 7. Let's go over to 7 real quick. Let's go over to 7. Double tap at the like button. What a Thursday, man. What a Thursday, man. We having a Fire Thursday show right now, man. Hey, man, we was dealing with some technical difficulties all week. I wiggled my way around that. Double tap, hit the like button, man. I wiggled my way around the technical difficulties. You know what I'm saying? So now we just wiggling our way through the algorithmic difficulties, you know what I'm saying? Double tap, hit the like button, man. We wiggling our way through the algorithmic difficulties, and you know, I think the propaganda is something with the propaganda, man. It's something with the propaganda, man. It's something with the propaganda. Like the propaganda is ill, man. The propaganda is ill, man. The propaganda is ill. So the propaganda is powerful, man. The social media propaganda is powerful, man. And we gonna keep grinding though. We're gonna keep grinding through the propaganda and wannabes. There's a lot of propaganda and there's a lot of wannabes, man. But let's go with the 7, man. Let's go with the 7. Trump, what is it? America wins 7 ways. Trump just changed everything. I feel like Trump just changed the world. Let's go down to 7 ways Trump just changed everything. Number 1, Maduro status. Operation Absolute Resolve, January 3rd, successfully extracted Maduro. The system in Caracas has collapsed, replaced by U.S. monitored transition. Double tap at the like button. Number 2, oil dominance. U.S. oil majors are back on the ground in Venezuela. Billions are being injected into fixed broken infrastructure for U.S. security. Double tap, hit the like button. Number 3, the Cuban blockade. Diplomatic energy blockade is in full effect. I just showed you a 96,000 backlog. Cubans can't even go to the hospital. Universities and school closed. Food lines and shortages and starvation. Mexico and Nicaragua have been squeezed into halting shipments, leaving Havana in a blackout. Remember, I told you, why has the Cuban blockade been so successful? It's because the Trump tariffs were successful in 2025. So not only when we went to Venezuela did we stop oil and fuel going to Cuba, but Trump said to the rest of the world and communist sympathizers, if you help Cuba, we will levy a heavy tariff upon you, and that tariff has been successful. Double tap, hit the like button. Send you some money. So Sonny said, send me some money. No, send me some money, motherfucker. Double tap, hit the like button, hit the super chat. Double tap, hit the like button, hit the super chat. It's nothing but leftist propaganda out here. There's nothing but leftist propaganda out here. Everybody in the channel, Trump news, Trump news, Trump news, giving Democrats the boo-hoo blues, giving Democrats the boo-hoo blues. Double tap, hit the like button, man. The most fire show on YouTube. The most fire show on YouTube. Number 1 for geopolitical and political debate is nothing better, man. I'm giving you the 7 ways Trump just changed the entire globe. Trump just changed everything. America wins. Trump was right. I was right. Double tap, hit the like button. The Cuban blockade. You guys understand what do you guys understand the logic in the game I'm putting down? So Trump blocks Cuba, but not just that. See, Biden could never do this. Biden would never be successful with this strategy. There's a lot of naysayers. They don't understand how Trump has affected the entire globe. Double tap at the like button. Biden could never do this. If Biden said don't send Cuba, Biden would have us in World War III. People are listening. Going back to the 12-day war. Going back to the 12-day war. Why are people respecting the tariffs? Why are people respecting the tariffs? Going back to the 12-day war when Trump dropped those bombs on Iran, two of the largest bombs ever under nuclear weapons. Everybody's saying how Iran is this and Iran is that. Why Iran didn't do shit? Why Iran didn't do shit after we dropped those two damn near nuclear bombs? Created a 12-day war, created protests that lasted a year until February 28th. You guys know after the 12-day war, there were protests in Iran daily until we got there, leading up to the issues I'm talking about today. This food shortage, these inflation, 140, they have state bread. We don't know anything about that. People who want to be like Zohrani Mondani in New York with free buses, this is the same thing Ayatollah Khomeini promised the Iranians. And then you know what you end up? You end up with hyperinflation and you end up with state-sanctioned bread. In New York, that's what's coming. You're going to have a caliphate in Brooklyn. We saw police teaching women how to wear, non-Muslim women wearing hijabs. And then I went to Germany. Just to drive my point home, I went to Germany and I played a video of a Jewish German who says, I have to hide the fact that I'm Jewish. There is no Sharia law on the books, but there are so many neighborhoods in Germany that have been taken over by Muslims that Jews don't feel that have. These are people who were born in Germany. We're talking about immigrants who migrated to Germany, who live in Germany now, who happen to be Muslim. I played a video just to let you know, when we say what's coming in New York is not far-fetched, because it's already happened in Germany in modern times, in Austria. That's why Brexit exists. What is Brexit? Why does Brexit exist? Brexit exists because Europeans who were born in European countries that were majority white do not feel comfortable going to the grocery store. Do not feel comfortable going to the bus stop. What do you mean? Because the bus stop has 200 African Islamic immigrants. So you guess what white people do? Guess what Jews do? They wear hijabs. They take off their thing because they will get harassed by teenage Muslims. In Germany, in Austria, it happened in a mall in Minnesota. I put forth, it's this close in Brooklyn, New York, with Zohrani Mondani and the police under Zohrani Mondani having Muslim rugs, having American meetings as an American elected official, sitting down like he's having Muslim prayer. And we have a separation of church and state. If not, I don't have anything against Muslims. I don't think Trump does either. I don't think the prime minister of Japan does either. But it's this bullshit. It's this bullshit that Trump is talking about and the prime minister of Japan is talking about and that MAGA Republicans are talking about. There's an obvious separation of church and state. Why the fuck is he on his knees on a Muslim rug while he's doing a fucking press conference as the New York mayor? So when we say a caliphate is coming to Brooklyn, I use an example of right now, today in 2026. Today, not 1950, not 1940. Today in 2026, I played a video of a German Jew who says he takes off anything that says he's Jewish when he walks around in Germany. In Germany. And people keep saying, why we in Iran? Why we in Iran? I don't understand. Iran needs to be free. They don't know shit about geopolitics. They don't know shit about the facts on the ground. And Iran is starving, 140% inflation on bread, and they don't even have the state-sanctioned for bread. So Zohrani Mondani is making you the same promise as Ayatollah Khomeini. Do you know what the exchange is? for free buses, you can't afford bread. Do you know what the exchange is for free healthcare and free daycare? You can't afford bread. Why would they give you a free bus, free daycare if you have money to pay for it? The reason he's setting this shit up because you won't have enough money to buy bread. Just like in Iran. Just like in Iran, so the people there can't afford bread, so they have state-sanctioned bread. Guess what? They ran out. So people in Iran can't afford to buy bread because of hyperinflation, 140%. So the state created a loaf of bread. It's not good, it's not healthy, but it's bread. And guess what? They ran out. Why did they run out, Perfect? Because the wheat comes from Russia and America destroyed the supply chains and they can't get the wheat into Iran. First issue. Secondary issue. The wheat has to be milled into flour before you can bake it into bread. I said the wheat has to be milled into flour before you can bake it into bread. What did I show you yesterday? I showed you the plants in the factories that mill the wheat into flour are down. I showed you the plants in the factories that mill the wheat into flour are down. They're down. None. Gone. Dunzo. They can't turn wheat into flour unless they get two stones and rub wheat together. And you can't feed a country like that, damn it. This is what I'm presenting today. Where everybody talking about who winning, all this stuff. This is the reality on the ground. Iran is starving, Cuba is starving, and the Cuban blockade is working because the Trump tariffs are real, and people fear the Trump presidency and the Trump tariffs. Number 4, Iran isolation. I'm going down my top 7 reasons why America wins. Double tap hit the like button. I'm going down my top 7 reasons why America wins. You see the title, you see the thumbnail. You're watching the Perfect Timing Podcast, #1 podcast on YouTube for geopolitical debate. Everybody watching right now, do me a huge favor, hit the like button. Everybody watching right now, hit the subscribe. It's absolutely free. Right now, if you're watching me on the cell phone, go ahead and go to the ellipsis in the top right-hand corner. Hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. Everybody right now watching, hit the like button. Everybody right now, subscribe. Everybody right now, when you subscribe, you're going to get a plus sign. Subscribe and join the channel. That plus sign will allow you to be a member. I'm running a Somalian special. Double tap, hit the like button. The Somalians have stolen $19 billion, allegedly. Double tap hit the like button, allegedly. Join the channel, become a member, support the movement, support Trump, support America. 19 billion, we are the world, we are the children. Somalians came here and stole 19 billion. They built learning centers. The children didn't learn shit, but you can join my channel for less than a fifth. F-I-F, fifth. What do you plead? Fifth. F-I-F, fifth. I said we are the world. We are the children. Somalians came here and stole 19 billion, allegedly. They built learning centers. The children didn't learn shit, but you can join my channel for less than a fifth. Say it for me, everybody. F-I-F, fifth. Join my channel, $5 a month, 25 cents a day, man. #1 channel on YouTube, man. Like, share, and subscribe, man. #1 channel on YouTube, man. #1 channel on YouTube, man. Double tap, hit the like button. Let's drink some water. Let me clear my What anybody got to say about this, man? America wins. America's winning. America has won. Trump has put out orders to the Navy, shoot to kill. I repeat, no more ceasefire. No more ceasefire. Trump has put out to the Navy, shoot to kill. Iran is withering on the vine. They have state-sanctioned bread, but the state bread is ran out. And I just explained to my audience, what is state-sanctioned bread? I said, you will find out in New York real soon. You will find out in New York real soon. Free buses. Why don't you ever, like, nothing in life is free. It's like everybody on the Democrat side, everybody never had a grandfather. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Democrats never had a grandfather. You get nothing. You drank fizzy lifting drinks. You burped on the ceiling. Someone has to clean it off. So you broke the contract, sir. You get nothing. Zilch, nothing. You don't get shit for free, man. Y'all don't know what you're going to give up to get those free buses. You won't be able to afford a bus ride. Why is that not simple enough to deduce? Why would they give me a free bus? Because you won't be able to afford the bus ride. And then you won't be able to afford bread. And you will wait in line. No more supermarkets. Do you know how much luxury we have in America? You know how much of a luxury we have in America? No one has these supermarkets and mega stores. They have to ration food because they have to import food. We grow the food here. We grow so much food here, we sell it to other countries. We grow 80% of the world's greens. So we have supermarkets. We have Costco. We have big box stores. You know, on TikTok, they have a video. You know, it's a popular video on TikTok where the women drive 100 miles to go to a Costco business center and buy a half of a lamb. You know, Muslim people come to America when they were in a non-American country. Everybody, think about this. Everybody talks shits about America. But when I go to the Costco Business Center, I see that they cater to the Muslim immigrants. Who noticed this? They have halal. If you go to the Costco Business Center, it's full of our Islamic immigrants because they have halal chicken. They have halal lamb. You can buy a half a lamb, a whole lamb. They have halal beef. And every time I go to the Costco Business Center, I see my fellow Americans. They still Americans, brothers and sisters. America is a melting pot. See, in America, that's why Don Lemon is going to go to prison for the FACE Act. In America, we respect you and love you. It doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter where you pray. You have a right to pray in the mosque. You have a right to pray in the cathedral. And Don Lemon can't come in there and fuck with you. Do you understand? That's what makes America the greatest country on the earth. That you can be a Muslim American and go to the mosque and never fear reprisal from a Christian or a Jew. That's what makes us great. That's why 20 million people came here in 2022. But I just want to put forth something. While we have supply chain issues that did not start February 28th, I just want to put forth, they don't got Costco Business Center in the Middle East when they have to ship in food from other countries. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? But those Muslims come here, those who are blessed and lucky enough, you might ask yourself, why would people travel? Because right now, today, we're talking about driver's licenses in California. We're going to elect a brand new governor in California. One of the biggest issues are driver's licenses for people who can't read. And a lot of the people who are getting arrested for driving tractor trailer trucks who can't read are not Latino. They are Middle Eastern. And I feel like I'm the only one talking about it. They are not Mexican. They are not Venezuelan. And nobody in America at the No Kings Fuck ICE rally is talking about how many people from the Middle East came here during the Biden-Kamala debacle of an open border policy. It's the number one issue in California. It's the number one issue in California. So I'm saying, why would they leave the Middle East and travel across the globe and come to America? Because you can go to Costco fucking Business Center. You don't have that there. They don't have grocery stores. They don't have food stamps. They come here and they live like kings. I don't understand all this America hate. I don't understand all this America hate. I don't. I would think people would be more honest about how great this country is and all of the benefits that they share and that they have. Double tap at the like button. So we're going through the top 7 reasons why Trump is winning the war, and we're on number 4, Iran isolation. The Strait of Hormuz conflict, February 2026, has backfired on Tehran. Fertilizer and fuel exports are choked, leading to internal stability risks. Let's go. I got some video on that right now. So I showed this as I talk about why I showed this as I presented my argument as to how and why these shortages are occurring, right? I showed, let me bring it up for you guys. I showed this so you can get a picture of why these shortages are occurring. This is the Straits of Hormuz, and you see all these tankers, they're full of food, they're full of medicine. All of these tankers that you're seeing behind me in the Straits of Hormuz are full of food, they're full of medicine. This is what's causing the supply chain issues. I got another video here. Let's take a look at this video. It's a little slow. Let's go to another one. Yeah, here we go. Double tap hit the like button, everybody. Double tap hit the like button. So we're talking about the food crisis in Iran. I'm going down my top 7. Reasons why America has won and why Trump geopolitical strategic prowess has changed the globe. Number 4 is Iran isolation. The Straits of Hormuz conflict has backfired on Tehran. Fertilizer and fuel exports are choked, leading to internal stability risk. Take a look at this video to support my argument.
And children waiting in endless lines as flour supplies run dry. This reflects the crushing weight of daily life as Iran's economy spirals, supply chains fracture, and the Islamic regime forces civilians to shoulder the cost of its gross mismanagement. While the dictatorship pours funds into stockpiling missiles and weaponry to defy the US, domestic flour reserves have been completely depleted. As the threat of famine looms larger, how much longer can the Iranian people endure this? The first thing to vanish in Iran.
That's a great question. This is what I'm asking. How much longer can the Iranian people deal with this?
Wasn't the missiles, it was the bread. A video posted on X reveals a heartbreaking scene in Malard, on the outskirts of Tehran. Crowds of women and children waiting in endless lines as flour supplies run dry.
Crowds of women and children. This is Tehran. This is Iran. And people waiting in line for food. Remember what I'm explaining to you. The wheat comes from Russia. What is Trump winning? Higher gas prices. Are you listening? Are you listening? Gas was higher under Biden, and we weren't in a global conflict. And also Venezuela, we have oil coming out of Venezuela. Kumar. This is Kumar. Kumar, did you know about Venezuela? Kumar, do you know about the Venezuela update? Venezuela, the good news in Venezuela, the reopening. Since Maduro's removal, the IMF and the World Bank are back in Venezuela as of April 16th. Oil flow. Venezuela oil is officially headed back to the U.S. refineries at scale starting March 10th. Safety. While Trinidad de Agua elements still linger, the State Department has become phased embassy operations for the first time in 7 years. So when you talk about oil and gas, get your facts together, Kumar. Get your facts together, Kumar. Kumar, did you know about that, Kumar? Don't forget, we just captured Venezuela, the most oil in the globe, the most gold in the globe. 7 ways Trump has changed the world. Companies are, here it is. Companies are leaving USA. Gas prices are at all-time high. U.S. tourism is tanking. U.S. is losing global allies. Kumar, where do you live? I'm going to say it again. Kumar, where do you live? So let's break down Kumar's bullshit. What does MAGA know about this tourism bullshit and companies leaving? The truth is, this is just some troll, but I love when trolls come in with in their idiotic comments, these stupid ass thumbnails, right? Yeah, you live in America, Kumar. Hop Singh. Kumar Love Deep. This is Kumar Raj Love Deep. What's up, Kumar Raj Love Deep Singh? Kumar Raj Love Deep Singh, who lives in Florida and gets to go to shopping markets and Costco. Let's break down this bullshit, right? So during the 2020 Biden regime, 10 to 20 million people came here. And like I just said, a lot of Middle Eastern people came here from Yemen and places like that. The people who, you remember the guy who unalived Americans in Florida? He got his driver's license in California. He was driving a tractor trailer in Florida. He made an illegal U-turn and unalived Americans. Did you know about that? So what I am saying to you with your bullshit is people like you, up to 20 million came here. Trump has only been in office 14 months. We just secured the border. The Democrats said 300,000 people were crossing the border a day at the highest. 300,000. He's saying tourism is taken. Is he high? Is he high? What you smoking? We smoking Epstein money. We getting Bin Laden money. He's smoking on that Bin Laden pack. He's smoking on that Bin Laden pack. We getting Bin Laden money. Just 14 months ago, the border was a leaking fucking sieve, brother. 300,000 people like you came across the American border every damn day to the tune of 20 million people. What is he high on? What is he high on? What is he high on? No. Don't change the subject. Don't change the subject, Kumar. Don't change the subject, Kumar Hop Singh. Don't change the subject, Raj Deep. Don't change the subject. Let's deal with the American companies. Let's deal with these tariffs. Let's deal with what I reported about onshoring. Let's deal with what I said about the Canadian companies who are building plants in America to avoid tariffs. Let's talk about Trump meeting with Mr. Toyota. Let's talk about Trump being at the inauguration for the first female prime minister in Japan. Let's talk about her visiting the White House and them taking photographs together in front of the White House. They're very good friends. You know what they talked about both times? Investments in America, $1 trillion investments to get around tariffs, right? Mr. Toyota sitting down, he said he didn't even know Toyota was a last name, sitting down with Donald Trump, talking about $5 trillion in investments, onshoring manufacturing in America in 5 different states. What about Mark Cuban, who we talked about yesterday, owner of the Dallas Mavericks, owner of Cost Plus drugs, and he's talking about working with Trump RX and working with, he owns a generic drug company. He currently manufactures his drugs in China. Mark Cuban just said, thanks to Trump and his tariffs and his tax benefits, it's going to benefit his company. He's not doing it for fun. He's doing it to make money. But a lot of companies are onshoring manufacturing. So you're just talking shit. See, I have real receipts and proof. Double tap at the like button. Mark Cuban, who owns a drug manufacturing company in Cuba, said he's closing that and he's going to build it in Dallas, where he owns the Dallas Mavericks. He's going to make his generic drugs in America because it's going to make him more money. It's going to be greater for America. It's going to create American jobs. But the reason he's doing it, because it's more cost effective for him. It will be able to lower the cost of the drugs. He will be able to sell more drugs and make more money by building manufacturing facilities in America. We haven't had discussions like this in over 50 years. We haven't had discussions like this in over 50 years, and you come in here trolling as a fucking guest. You are a guest in my house. You are a guest in America, and you don't know shit. Onshoring jobs. Onshoring jobs. I love when the trolls come in. You see, he just quiet. Kumar, you ain't got nothing else to say. And Kumar, thank you, because you allow me to educate the audience on how fire this podcast is. Kumar, you allow me to educate the audience on how fire this podcast is. And I shut you up. I ain't even block him, you guys. He's still here. He can say something, but he don't got shit to say. What can you say? What can you say after being humiliated with facts? Oh shit, I forgot 20 million people did come here. Oh shit, I forgot a lot of Middle Eastern people did come here. Oh shit, I forgot one of the biggest discussion points in 2026 election is the driver's licenses and whether how sanctuary states and sanctuary cities are giving out licenses for all, like Minnesota. And I played a video where licenses for all is leading to non-citizens being able to vote. Do you know that? Kumar, do you know I played a video where in Minnesota, the Republicans asked, so you have a policy called license for all, correct? Tim Walz created a policy called licenses for all. We have license similar in California and New York, but it's not called licenses for all. So the Republicans said, you have another law that says if you have a driver's license in Minnesota, you can vote. So the question is, if you have a law that states license for all, is it feasible that if an immigrant who is not a citizen, who has a driver's license, presents to vote, will that person be able to vote in Minnesota? Guess what the Democratic chief of the electorate said? He said yes. He said yes. There's nothing stopping that non-citizen from voting if they have a driver's license. Isn't MAGA been saying that? Hasn't MAGA been saying that? Hasn't MAGA been saying just that? Hasn't MAGA been saying that the Democrats are cheating? Haven't we said explicitly that? This is the policy in Minnesota. You saw violence, you saw protests. You don't know the policies in Minnesota that Tim Walz, Ilhan Omar, Jacob Fry, and the liberal Democrats put forth. It's called licenses for all. And I know as you hear it, you're saying to yourself, this guy has to be lying. This guy, as you listen to this, I get it if you say this is why you don't like YouTubers. Because this is how outlandish these real life facts are. If you were new and you are hearing this for the first time, I get it. This is jarring. But this is, you know what's so beautiful about 2026? You can go to your cell phone, you can go to your laptop, and you can look it up yourself. In real time, you can open up another tab. As you watch me, you can open up another tab and you can go to that tab in 2026 and you can look up licenses for all. You can look up licenses for all. You can look up whether or not immigrants with the license in certain Democratic sanctuary states will be able to vote in 2028. Straight up. This is on the record. This is on the record. I know some people, because a lot of people watch me are, my audience skews a little bit older. So it's like, do you guys remember River Phoenix? I was talking to my wife the other day. You had the Rat Pack and then you had the Brat Pack. There was a movie called Less Than Zero, Robert Downey Jr., River Phoenix. When I was a kid, there was a movie called License to Drive. It was a great movie. Who remembers that movie? Who remembers what it was like being 16 in the 80s? What it was like, how hard you went to driver's school, driver's manuals, working at a summer job, putting together a car with old tires, and no one cared. The girl didn't care. No one cared. If it started up and drove, you were the man. No matter how old it was, no matter how dirty it was, no matter how loud it was, who remembers the movie License to Drive? Who remember how hard we worked? And when I grew up, we called it a ghetto pass. When I grew up in the 90s, we called it a ghetto pass because blacks, because of the freeways, we were trapped in the inner cities. You couldn't leave the ghetto. And these projects that they created, it was deeper than what people understand. It was a mousetrap. So we were in these projects, but the way they built them and surrounded them by freeways, you couldn't leave. And surrounded us by police. So if you were lucky enough, blessed enough to get a driver's license in a car that was registered and legally yours, and we called it a ghetto pass because it was a freedom to leave the ghetto. And it was something all of us worked hard to obtain. We worked hard to get a driver's license. How do you feel knowing in 2026, when all of this Republican hate that's dividing our country, that people who can't read, think about the movie, license to drive, everything you went through, your mother paying money, you begging your mom, you begged to get driver school, you begged $200, it was a lot of money. That $260 was a lot of money to us. Think about people who don't know how to read and write English, don't know how to do a left hand. Remember our parallel, all the shit we learned. And because they are not being to go through the same thing that we went through, people are being unalived. Illegal U-turn. And it was a whole family in Florida. It was a whole family in California. Y'all want me to look it up? Do y'all want to watch the video of Kumar's cousin? Y'all want to watch the video of Kumar's cousin who was not a citizen, who couldn't read and write English, who did an illegal U-turn in Utah, in Florida, where Kumar is from, and unalive American citizens? And what about the Middle Easterner in California? I think he was high, and he unalived a black coach. How many working black men do we have? Black fathers. He was a coach, a pillar in the community. He's unalived by an immigrant with a license who don't know how to read the American signs. I wish I was making this up, Kumar. I wish I was making this up, Kumar. Thank you, Kumar. Let's go back. We're doing the 7 reasons why Trump won, and I was talking about the isolation of Iran. We were talking about the isolation of Iran, right? We were talking about the isolation of Iran and how Iran has food lines and how the Iranian people have something called state-sanctioned bread, but they've run out of bread. And I was giving the math to my audience of how they've run out of bread. They've run out of bread because the Americans have disrupted the supply chains for medicine, food, oil, all supplies. So the wheat to make the flour, and I know it's a lot of young people who don't get it, but a lot of the older people in the chat, you know, I bake bread, I make biscuits, I'm a baker, I'm a chef. So who remembers the story when we were kids with the chick and she baked the bread sitting on and then everybody saw her with the seed, planting the seed, and they just didn't help her. No one helped her till the ground, plant the seed, hold the wheat. But then once you get the wheat from Iran that uses to make this state-sanctioned bread comes from Russia. With the supply chain shut down, they can't get the wheat in, the raw product. Now, what do you do with the wheat? If they were able to get the wheat into Iran, there is a secondary issue. And I don't hear anyone talking about this but me. The secondary issue is the plants that Iran, because Iran is Muslim. Remember, I talked to you about the halal meat at the Costco market. Well, Iran creates their own flour because they're Muslim. So Iran creates a halal flour. The plants that Iran uses to create the flour from the Russian wheat are shut down. America took them out. So even if Iran could get the wheat, they don't have the ability to turn wheat into flour. Bakeries are closed. I know this may be complex to some of the idiots who want to troll, who don't understand that you need wheat to make flour, that bakeries need flour to bake bread. This is a very methodical, mathematical argument that I am presenting to you, right? If you don't understand one piece of it, it may go over your head. If you don't understand that Iran purchases wheat in the raw form, if you can't see that, if you don't see the wheat in the raw form, the golden strands of wheat like straw, if you don't see that in your head, you're not getting what I'm putting down right now. Iran purchases the raw straw wheat from Russia. What's up, Kimberly? If you don't understand what raw wheat looks like in the Midwest, like I love white women. You ever seen that white woman who be posing on the farm? You know, you got Madison, you got Yellowstone, you know what I'm saying? Them old ranches where you got them beautiful white women with them big legs on the ranch. You ever seen golden wheat? It's like blonde hair. It's like blonde hair. You ever seen that white girl in the Playboy magazine posing nude with her gorgeous blonde strands of hair, and she's running through that tall yellow, looks like grass? That's wheat, homie. That's wheat. So Iran gets that wheat, that tall yellow grass from Russia. And it takes that tall yellow grass and it mills it in the flour. It can't get that wheat and it can't mill it in the flour because we shut down the plants. Let's take a look at the video.
This reflects the crushing weight of daily life as Iran's economy spirals, supply chains fracture, and the Islamic regime forces civilians to shoulder the cost of its gross mismanagement. While the dictatorship pours funds into stockpiling missiles and weaponry to defy the US, domestic flour reserves have been completely depleted. As the threat of famine looms larger, how much longer can the Iranian people endure this?
How much longer? Because I report yesterday the social contract has broken down. Look at this. They would have lost, and before February 28th, there was protests every day because this is not a new issue. The hyperinflation, the food shortages are not new. Double tap at the like button. Listen.
The first thing to vanish in Iran wasn't the missiles, it was the bread.
The first thing to vanish in Iran was not the missiles, it was the bread. Are you guys listening to this argument I'm putting forth on why we have won in Iran and Cuba? The first thing to vanish in Iran was not the missiles, it was the bread.
A video posted on X reveals a heartbreaking scene in Malard, on the outskirts of Tehran. Crowds of women and children waiting in endless lines as flour supplies run dry.
Crowds of women and children outside of Tehran as flour supplies run dry. And you, in my audience, may be the only people who understand why. Because I just explained to you why the wheat who comes from Russia and the flour is not getting milled. You may be the only people who understand why this is not propaganda, why they are really starving.
This reflects the crushing weight of daily life as Iran's economy spirals, supply chains fracture, and the Islamic regime forces civilians to shoulder the cost of its gross mismanagement. While the dictatorship pours funds into stockpiling missiles and weaponry to defy the US, domestic flour reserves have been completely depleted. As the threat...
Y'all hear this? While they focused on building missiles, and they keep showing you these videos, CNN, Iran has all this propaganda. They keep showing that we have all these missiles. We have control of the straits. We are so powerful. Iran. This is the truth, you guys. You watch a propaganda, you're watching AI videos. Did you guys know that? You're watching AI videos on X and TikTok where Iran is celebrating. We have missiles. We are still in power. We have the straits. Those are AI generated videos. This is the reality on the ground. And I'm backing it up with facts. I'm not only showing the video, I'm explaining to you why this reality exists. I'm explaining to you why this reality exists. Come on, you guys. Trump has won. America has won. MAGA is the greatest. Trump is a genius.
The threat of famine looms larger. How much longer can the Iranian people endure this?
How much longer can the Iranian people go hungry before they protest? And keep in mind, this hunger existed before February 28th, in which led to the protests since going back to the 12-day war.
The first thing to vanish in Iran wasn't the missiles, it was the bread.
The first thing to vanish in Iran wasn't the missiles, it was the bread. The first thing to vanish in Iran wasn't the missiles, it was the bread. Double tap at the motherfucking like button, y'all. Double tap, hit the motherfucking like button. The first thing to vanish in Iran was not the missiles, it was the bread. Cuba is a 90,000 backlog in Cuba. There is a 90,000 backlog in Cuba. Let's read this. 11,000 children among tens of thousands waiting for surgery in Cuba. Did you guys know that? Let me read that to you. 11,000 children among tens of thousands. That means there's even more waiting for surgery in Cuba due to U.S. blockade. What do we have in Iran right now? What do we have in Iran right now? Can anybody tell me in the chat? What do we have? We have an ironclad blockade. Double tap hit the like button. What do we have in Iran? We have an ironclad blockade. I just showed you lines of people waiting for food in Iran. And I am saying to you, they have shortages of medicine also. So not only will you have people waiting in line for food in Iran, just like Cuba, you will have people with the inability to get their dialysis, to get their surgery, or see a doctor. America has won. America has won. And I am presenting to you 7 of my facts of why I argue America has won and Trump has changed the geopolitical climate forever. Forever.
Have not been able to do so because of the fuel shortages. A lot of these threats coming from the White House is a desperate response to the resolve of the Cuban people. I think it's clear that there is no agreement in American society. There's no consensus. There's no support for the type of violent policies of the Trump administration towards Cuba.
Most Americans support anti-Cuban embargo, poll finds. I want to know from you in the chat, do you support the end of the Cuban embargo or the Iran blockade? How do you guys put a 1 in the chat? Are you behind the Cuban blockade? Are you behind the Straits of Hormuz blockade? Put a 1 in the chat. Do you support Trump in the Cuban blockade and the Iranian blockade? While you're answering that question, think for a moment. If America is not winning, how is it that they have these blockades around the globe in the most powerful places in the globe with the most oil in the globe? If America is not the big dog, how do we have a blockade in Cuba? How are we controlling the oil in Venezuela? How do we have a blockade in the Straits of Hormuz affecting the globe's oil? These are real reality. If America is not the big dog, how are we maintaining the Cuban blockade, an Iranian blockade, and the seizure of Venezuela all at the same time? Can someone answer that for me? If America is not the big dog, how are we maintaining a Cuban blockade, an Iranian blockade, and the Venezuelan takeover? Please answer.
The real agenda holders behind this mouthpiece are a small minority within the Cuban American community that have essentially, for decades, have had
Trump-friendly takeover of Cuba. Hasn't that been our reporting? So there are, what he's saying is, he says he doesn't agree with it, but he's saying that there are American Cubans, there are American Cubans who support what Trump is doing,
At this point, there are over 96,000 people who are online or waiting in queues to get surgeries and have not been able to do so because of the fuel shortages. A lot of
over 96,000 people are in queues. Did you hear what he said? Over 96,000 people.
At this point, there are over 96,000 people who are online or waiting in queues to get surgeries and have not been able to do so because of the fuel shortages.
This straight up, he's not a fan of Trump. He's not a fan of Trump, but I'm using him. I'm using him to make my argument. He's not a fan of Trump. He's not a fan of the blockade, but I am using his facts. So when I present my facts, people don't think I'm making it up. So I'm using someone who's not on my side. If you're wondering where I'm getting my facts, I'm getting my facts from the ground. I'm getting my facts from the ground. He's not a Trumper. He doesn't like Trump. He's just telling you. And I am saying to you, this is a victory for us. I am saying to you, this is America winning. There are 96,000 people who can't see a doctor in Cuba. People are starving in Iran. People are starving in Cuba. I'm not being cruel. I'm not being cruel, but I'm tired of people lying to the public about Trump losing and about America losing. America has won. America has won. Does anybody know logistics? Does anybody know logistics? If you understand logistics, what you need to understand is that when I explain these things about Iran and the supply chain, if anybody here, I'm logistics. I'm a project manager. I have certifications in logistics. I've run massive projects. What people don't understand about what I'm presenting today is how long it will take to get these supply chains back up and running at normal. Okay, let me use this as an example so people can understand. Remember when we went through the pandemic? Remember when we went through moratoriums and quarantines. And what people realized is what was worse than the shutdown was how slow and how broken everything took to get back. And when we learned that nothing would come back at the same speed. See, Iran don't understand this yet, but we just went through this in America. It's not going to come back at the same level. It's going to be worse. I said, we just went through this in America. When those supply chains get fixed in Iran, things change. Terrain changes, mountains, the earth, people, Russia may change. We're trying to get Russia back in the G8. America is in Abu Dhabi. We're trying to make Russia our friend again. Iran don't know what the fuck could be in the future. So what happens is when this all is over and Iran is forced to rebuild, think about what we've gone through in America. Remember what I told you about shrinkflation? Just to get shit back on the shelves in America, they shrank the cans. They shrank the packages. Under Joe Biden, we didn't only have inflation, we had shrinkflation. They don't talk about it because they want to demonize Trump. Boxes went from 16 ounces to 12 ounces in America. In America, the richest country in the world, we are not back at pre-COVID levels. Is anyone intelligent listening? In America, the richest country in the world, some economists say we will never get back to pre-COVID levels. It could take 50 years before you see a 16-ounce can in the supermarket again. That's in America. It could take 50 years before you see. When I went to go buy bacon, the bacon is the same price. Sometimes the bacon costs more. But the bacon, everybody, when you go shopping, look at the bacon. It used to be a pound of bacon, 16 ounces. They have brand new package. It looks the same. And if you don't look close, you won't even know it's 12 ounces. Bro, I was so pissed off because I do this show and I have all these trolls. And it's like people are so asleep in America. This is how they rip you off. You hate Trump and they charge you more for less. Oh, they get you riled up. Go hate Trump, go hate Trump. And you go to the supermarket and they charge you more for less. And they say it's Trump's fault, but it's not. They're just ripping you off. I'm paying more for less bacon. Shrinkflation, they tricking the American consumer. The bacon package looks like the bacon I bought when I was a kid. It was 16 ounces. But I promise you, go to the supermarket, look at the bacon, it's 12 ounces. That happened under Biden. It's called shrinkflation. 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 So let's keep going. I'm listing the 7 reasons why Trump has changed the world geopolitically forever and why America has won. Number 5, gas exports. U.S. refined product exports hit 7 million barrels per day this year. A 10% surge. We are now the world's primary gas station. If you want to ball keys, if you want to stack G's, you got to buy dope from us. If you want to ball keys, if you want to stack G's, you got to buy oil from us. Trump is the genius. Trump is the king of New York. Trump has said he has closed every drugstore on the block. And then Trump opens up a drugstore and says, you have to buy from me. This is king of New York at its finest. This is king of New York at its finest. And then what did I say? And guess what, you guys? This is the #1 channel on YouTube for this conversation. Remember when we talked about this a couple days ago, and all of us together, I had an epiphany. Remember I played the song Be Legit, you got to buy dope from us. And I said, wait a minute, you guys. If America is the leader and the only person, I said, how will all these companies pay for our goods? No one else. I just heard it for the first time yesterday. And you know they heard it from me. I just heard it for the first time yesterday. And you know they heard it from us. First time I heard an economist say, everybody coming to America, to buy oil and gas will have to buy it in dollars. Now, guess what the economist said? The economist said Saudi Arabia is pissed. Saudis in the UAE is pissed at America. Remember, everybody's saying that Saudi is manipulating us, Israel is manipulating us. No, everyone is mad because we are the king of New York and we making all the money. So guess what Saudi just said? Guess what the UAE just said? They want a swap line. They said if they have to spend all of their reserve dollars on American oil, they want America to swap out and give them more dollars. Do y'all understand how powerful the dollar is right now? The dollar has been shit. All you want to be smart guys, you have to be honest about what the dollar was just 14 months ago under Biden. Can we be honest about what the dollar was just 14 months ago under Biden? Now we have the Saudis, the UAE, telling us we have to give them swap lines. People begging for dollars. People are realizing that, hey, I got to buy my oil from America, but we shitted on the dollar. And we don't have that many dollars. It puts America in a power position. We need more dollars. Huh? The America, yeah. And they have to spend the petrodollar. And why isn't anyone talking? This is my channel. This is my chat. This is the perfect time in podcast. We are the #1 channel for this conversation. Everyone knows that everyone has to come here and buy oil. But why isn't CNN, ABC, and NBC talking about the fact that all these foreign countries will have to spend dollars? And some of them are dollar poor. Some of them are dollar poor. Oh, we got a dummy in the chat, and they don't even know how to speak English. We got a dummy in the chat that don't even know how to speak English. The dummy says 38 trillion in debt. U.S. GDP are less than 38 trillion to U.S. are not rich. I don't even know what that means, so I can't address it because it doesn't make sense. But you said something earlier. That is administration's fault. This person must be from another country. Can you articulate better what you're trying to say? Because what I will say to the U.S. debt is that Trump tariffs and Trump is a genius. I played a video. Trump is not the first president to use tariffs to pay down the deficit. But this is the first time in over 50, 60 years that we're actually have a mechanism to pay down the tariff, to pay down the deficit. And we're doing that with Trump tariffs. So I don't know, whatever your name is, you an idiot to me. You're beneath me. You don't have the intellect to have this conversation. You don't have the intellect to have this conversation. You don't understand anything about geopolitics. A lot of people just scratch the surface. You have no idea how much money we've collected in tariffs, how much will Trump will collect in tariffs over his 4-year term. We've done the math here. We've given $12 billion back to farmers. 1776 went to the army after the Democrats shut down the government for 43 days. We paid mothers when the government was shut down for 43 days. Trump paid mothers and children. The WIC program. Oh, this guy is a fucking dum-dum. Who pays the tariffs, dum-dum? You just giving me, you notice the views keep going up every time. Come on. Who pays the tariffs? This is my favorite conversation. And it always makes my views go up, and someone always subscribe to the channel when I debunk the tariffs. Who pays the tariffs, dum-dum? Thank you. The tariffs are paid by American companies. Thank you. So people are finally listening. People are finally listening. Trump, who pays the tariffs, dum-dum? And what is a tariff? What is a tariff, dum-dum? They don't know. Let's educate them, you guys. Let's educate them on what a tariff is. A tariff is a duty. Some of us went to school. Some of us went to school. Some of us have an education. A tariff is a duty. It's a duty on import and exports. If you buy a hot dog from a hot dog stand and he doesn't have anything that he imports or exports in order to produce the hot dog, he doesn't incur any tariff costs. But dummies like you, I can charge you double for the hot dog. I'm gonna charge you double for the hot dog. Despite me, I don't have any tariff costs. You don't understand that because you think you've been listening to CNN and Rachel Maddow. You don't know what a tariff is. You don't know what a duty tax is. But I don't import or export anything. So I'm going to charge the dummy double for the hot dog. And I'm going to say to him, oh, man, I'm sorry. Oh, man, I'm sorry. Tariff is not a tax. Tariff is a duty. I'm going to say to him, oh, man, I'm sorry. I got to charge you double. I know last week the hot dog was $5, but Trump has tariffs, and I got to charge you $10 for the hot dog today. Oh, man, fuck Trump. Fuck Trump. I hate Trump. Hot dogs is $10 now. Hot dogs is $10. No. You just a dummy. And because you believe when everybody say tariffs are a tax, you pay double for the hot dog, even though the hot dog stand don't have no tariff costs. God damn. Even though the hot dog don't have no tariffs. And the dummies still saying it because they don't understand. But I'm going to keep going. Tariffs are a duty. Tariffs are a duty that you pay on imports and exports. A tariff is a tax or a duty imposed by a government on imported goods and occasionally exported goods, primarily designed to protect domestic industries, raise revenue, or exert political pressure. You can't even make it up. It's so easy to go look up these things. It's so easy, but you want to believe Rachel Maddow. You want to believe Rachel Maddow. And you don't understand the logic that I just put forth. If you are buying something from somebody who doesn't import or export, then you should not be paying anything. But let's keep going with this whole notion that the cost of a tariff, that is the cost, like there was an intelligent brother who said the company pays the tariff. M Mindset said the company pays the tariff, right? How is that helping American companies? How is it helping if American companies are paying? It helps. I'll get to that, but let's break it down. So now that we put the definition of what a tariff is a duty on imported and sometimes exported goods. If you're buying anything from someone who doesn't import or export, there is no tariff cost. I don't know why anyone hasn't told you that, but you should have that as an intelligent consumer. As an intelligent consumer, you should understand that as an intelligent consumer when you go make your purchases. If you are buying from my grandfather, I grew up in a time in America where my grandfather would not let my mother come over his house with a Korean car, with a Chinese car. My grandfather wouldn't buy his toaster if it was made in China. So let me keep going, because that's how it's going to benefit American companies and benefit American workers and American people. My grandfather wouldn't buy anything made in China and wouldn't let my mother bring anything made in China to his house. Everything he bought, he made sure it was made in America, and there was no tariffs. And all of the money stayed and recycled in America. But let's keep going. For people who think that the duty tax incurred by the companies go into the public. So I gave an example last time. I talked about the Indian example that Donald Trump gave. Right? Donald Trump talked about India and Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson had India put a 200% tariff, just so you guys understand, everybody, and the definition I read, remember the definition I read, that it's a primary design to protect domestic industries. Listen, it's in the chat. You can Google it yourself. Tariffs are designed to protect domestic industries. Now listen to this story. Donald Trump told this story. Harley Davidson went to India to sell motorcycles. India is one of the largest economies, billions of people. Mumbai, the streets are small, full of people because there's so many people, you got to ride a bike. You can't even drive a car. The cars are small, but most people drive bikes because there's so much population. The streets are small. It's a bike economy. Harley Davidson understands they have to be in this market. There's billions of people, it's potentially billions of sales of motorcycles. India understands this, right? So India says to Harley Davidson, we don't want you here. If you come here, you will put Indian companies out of business. So India puts a 200% tariff on Harley Davidson. So Harley Davidson cannot sell motorcycles in India. This protects Indian motorcycle companies. It protects Indian wages. It puts India first. You know, like MAGA in America first. Harley Davidson can't afford the 200% tariff. Now listen to my argument, and I want everyone who is a thinking person, this person right here, you sound like you're intelligent. I want you to talk to me for a second. Why didn't Harley Davidson simply sell their motorcycles in India and pass on the 200% tariff to the customer? And I'm going to give you 30 seconds to answer. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to answer. I'm going to repeat the question again. Why didn't Harley Davidson simply sell its motorcycles in India, maybe as a luxury item, and pass on the 200% tariff to the Indian customer? I'm going to give you some time. Because this is the crux of the argument and the ignorance. This is what TDS is. Do you understand? When we say Trump derangement syndrome, this is what TDS is. The TDS, they don't have complete thoughts. I learned this from my father, bro. My father was a very intelligent man. He taught me to be diligent. You know what my father would say a lot of times? Complete the thought. Complete the thought. Why did not Harley Davidson sell its motorcycles in India? Because this is what Americans say to me every day. They say Americans pay the cost of the tariff. And that's not true. So let's use a real life example. Because when people say that in my chat, they don't have a real life example. I'm giving you a real life example. Why didn't Harley Davidson just sell its motorcycles in India and then pass on the tariff to the customer like Americans argue with me, and just say to the Indians, the Harley Davidson motorcycle costs more because of tariffs? See, no one can answer. Even this brother said, I don't know, right? This brother said, I don't know. But it's not a complicated question, right? It's not a complicated question. It's an easy question if you understand, right? The answer to the question is the market. See, a lot of blacks don't understand economics and markets. They just listen to shit and they say stupid shit. Why? Because the market, Kimberly, the market sets the price of the motorcycle. It's so simple. This is not complex. This is not complex economics, you guys. The market sets the price of the motorcycle. So Harley Davidson, till the cows come home, Harley Davidson, till the cows come home, could charge whatever they want. It will sit on the lot. People won't buy a motorcycle from Harley Davidson for 200% more when they can go buy a motorcycle from an Indian company for 200% less. The market sets the price. And the motorcycle price is dependent on the market, which is dependent on how much the Indian can pay. How much do they make in rupees? How much yen? How many shekels? So the American company can't come here and fuck up our economy and fuck up our market. So guess what Harley Davidson did? This is why everybody's quiet. Guess what Harley Davidson did? Harley Davidson built a factory in India to get around the tariffs. And that's what people are doing in America right now. Harley Davidson built a factory. Harley Davidson built a factory in India to get around the tariffs, because you can't pass on tariff costs to the consumer. You can't. The company pays the tariff, and the company may go out of business, or the company may lose profits to stay in business. But if you sell widgets and you import your widgets from China, and there is now a tariff on those widgets, but you are not the only one who sells widgets, and the market price for a widget is $1, and you now have to pay 10 cents in addition to your costs, you lose 10-cent profit. You don't get to pass on the cost of the widget, because you will go out of business, because the widget price is set by the market. The widget is $1. If I try to sell my widget for $1.05, it will sit on the shelf because there's 3 other widgets next to it for $1. I can't say to my customer, my widget is now $1.05 because my tariffs went up. They will say, sorry, that's fucked up. But if there's a widget for $1, I'm buying that. I'm buying the widget for $1. That's how markets work. This is a reality. I don't know why CNN, I don't know why ABC. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. Toyota. Donald Trump has put tariffs on Toyota and Japanese imports. Guess what? Why doesn't Toyota just raise the price of a Camry? Why doesn't Toyota just raise the price of a Camry if the logic of the troll, of the logic of the CNN troll, of the purple hair protester, why doesn't Toyota just raise the price of the Camry? Why doesn't Toyota just raise the price of a 4-door sedan? The Toyota Camry will sit on the lot. It's not the only 4-door family sedan. They don't set the price of a 4-door family sedan. The market does. So Toyota can't say Camrys are going to cost more than every other 4-door family car in America because of Donald Trump tariffs. They can't do that. They lose profits. Instead, they have to get less profit. Or, like Harley Davidson, Mr. Toyota, the Prime Minister of Japan, is working with Trump, and they're building more plants in America to get around the Trump tariffs, because they can't raise the price of the Camry because it will sit on the fucking lot. This was not hard, you guys. This tariff lesson I just gave, it was not even deep economics. What's the guy's name? Jerome? What's his name? Jerome Powell? What's his name? What's his name? Jerome Powell. How can you tell me about tariffs and you don't even know his name? What's his name and what's his job? Let's get into it. If you know everything, what's his name? His name is Jerome Powell, right? What does he do? I know. But they know about tariffs, but they don't know who Jerome Powell is. Even he had to come out and say tariffs are not a tax on the people. Even I played the video because I've been arguing this since August 1st. That's right, he's the head of the Fed. And Donald Trump want to put his ass in jail. He's the head of the Fed, and Donald Trump want to put his ass in jail. But that's a different show. That's a different show. That's a different show. That's a different show. Donald Trump would have put his ass in jail because he ain't shit. But I ain't even really getting into his dirty shit. I ain't getting into his dirty shit and Donald Trump lawfare. I just wanted to reiterate where I get these facts from. Straight up. And this was not difficult, you guys. How many people put a 1 in the chat if you like that ride? Put a 1 in the chat if you like the tariff ride we just went on. Put a 1 in the chat if you like that tariff ride, and I love doing that. That's one of my favorite things because I've developed these arguments over time. No one can beat me on these debates. No one can beat me on these debates. I have developed this information over months of research. That's why it flows the way it flows out. Number one, the point of this, I want to educate the people, everyone putting the 1 in the chat. I want you to be empowered when you go make a purchase. I want you, the MAGA dollar is strong. Do you know you vote with your dollar? When you go spend your money at Nike, you're electing Nike to stay in business. When we stop spending money at the Cracker Barrel, that's when I said to MAGA, the MAGA dollar is strong. You vote with your dollar. When we stop buying Bud Light lost hundreds of millions of dollars. You vote with your dollar. The MAGA dollar is strong. Bud Light had to change its campaign. Cracker Barrel had to change its campaign. Target had to get rid of those trans swimsuits. Target fired the CEO because the MAGA dollar is strong. You are strong, not the company. This is another reason why they can't pass on tariff costs to MAGA. They won't pass on tariff costs to MAGA because MAGA understands the MAGA dollar is what's strong, and we vote with our dollar. If we don't buy Bud Light, there is no more Bud Light. If we don't go to Cracker Barrel, there is no more Cracker Barrel. If we don't go to Target, there is no more Target. It's a tax on the people, Carl, if the people are dumb enough to pay it. Carl, it's a tax on the people if the people are dumb enough to pay it. Do you understand? And what happens is people are not that dumb. Money is hard to come by. And if there are 2 items and one item costs more because of tariff taxes, I don't know anyone that dumb. Do you hear me? Carl, I'm talking to Carl Johnson. I don't know anyone that dumb because when people put forth this argument about tariffs being passed on, I don't know anyone that dumb who will go into a store and see 2 separate cans of soup, one for $1 and one for $1.10. They're both the same can of soup, but one has a tariff on it. I don't know anyone that dumb, Carl. Do you? Straight up, bro. I don't know anyone that dumb, right? This is a reality. I don't know anyone that dumb, Carl. I don't know anyone that dumb. Check it out. We still don't buy Bud Light. We still don't buy Bud Light. We still don't buy Bud Light. The MAGA dollar is strong. See, a lot of people who make these arguments, they don't understand the dollar. They don't understand economics. They don't understand markets. They don't understand geopolitics. When my buddy with the cute little kitten at Quest A17, you know what's powerful about your statement? It goes to my argument about Iran supply chains and how long it will take Iran not only to build back all of the submarines that we blew up. How long will it take Iran to build back all of the airplanes that we blew up? How long will it take Iran to build back all of the naval ships that we blew up? That is one question. You put that over there. But when we talk about the Bud Light and markets and supply chains, and when I talk to you about COVID and quarantine and shrinkflation and things in America still not being at pre-COVID levels, how long will it take for Iran? We still don't buy Bud Light. How long will it take Iran to get back to where they were celebrating in the early 2000s? They had a celebration, a holiday they created because they were independent of wheat. They didn't depend on anybody for wheat. Do you know how important it is for a desert people, a desert economy like Iran? the food and wheat was so important. Why? I pray you're listening. The food and the wheat crisis in that region was so important it created a holiday. Do you know how arrogant Americans are? We don't understand that. Americans have so much given to them. The Iranian people have been through so much food crises and food shortages that in the early 2000s, when Iran became self-sufficient, meaning they didn't need anybody for wheat, they created a holiday. They created a holiday and they celebrated. This is not in the, you would think I'm talking about 1860 or 1940. How fucked up is it that there is a third world country that only in the 2000s, only in the 2010s is when they are sufficient enough to celebrate having no food dependencies? Are you guys listening? And just yesterday, that holiday passed and they are starving. I'm saying to you, Iran was so food insecure that they created a holiday in the 2000s to celebrate them being self-sufficient and having wheat. Today in 2026, the holiday just passed. That's a dream. They are no longer self-sufficient in wheat. They are starving. They went from creating a holiday to now having no wheat to make flour and people in line starving. Thanks to Trump's blockade. Thanks to Trump's blockade. Let me keep going down my list of 7. So the last was number 5, gas imports, refined product exports hit 7 million barrels per day this year, a 10% surge. We are now the world's primary gas station. Number 6, embassy surge. The U.S. Embassy in Caracas officially reopened on March 30th. We also got our embassy back going in Venezuela, signaling a total restoration of diplomatic authority. Number 7, trade realignment. The America First trade wall is working. Countries like Guatemala and Honduras have ended Cuban medical missions under U.S. pressure. You hear me? Trade realignment. The America First trade wall is working. Countries like Guatemala and Honduras have ended Cuban medical missions under U.S. pressure. Venezuela, the reopening. Since Maduro's removal, the IMF and World Bank are back in Venezuela as of April 16th. America is winning. Donald Trump is the greatest. Double tap, hit the like button. America is winning is today's theme, and I am backing it up with receipts. Since Maduro's removal, the IMF and the World Bank are back in Venezuela as we talk about how this benefits America and American companies. The IMF and the World Bank are back in Venezuela as of April 16th. Oil flow. Venezuela oil is officially headed back to U.S. refineries. I said the Venezuelan oil is officially, and we're keeping the oil. Anybody a member of my channel? I've been looking for my members and my subscribers. I don't see a lot of regulars in the chat today. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching right now. A lot of the people watching are new. Carl, A-Quest, I see a lot of you for the first time, man, and I want to say thank you for coming here. We do this every day at 1 p.m. This is the #1 podcast for geopolitical debate. If, as you listen, you got to understand by now, this brother know what he's talking about. I'm on top of my shit. I'm on top of my shit. America is winning, and there's no way to debate it. I'm just putting up my receipts, man. Somebody said this isn't about money, it's about race and power. You know, life is better when you stay away from people who support short-sightedness and evil intentions. What does that mean, bro? This isn't about money, it's about race and power. Like, I don't think you know exactly what you're saying. I don't think you know exactly what you're saying. So I'm gonna put you on timeout. I don't think you know exactly what you're saying. I think people be coming here and wishing they had a podcast and be trying to sound smart. So because of Americans, other countries are starving and harming people. No, because we at war. We stole oil and the money went into a personal account in Qatar, sure, for the American people. Yeah, man, Lisa, you've been doing your research. I like that, man. Lisa been doing, at least if you're gonna disagree with me, know what the fuck you talking about. I like you. I like you. Man, god damn. God damn. Man, an intelligent fucking troll, man. Lisa, man, I love you. You welcome. You welcome here because you're correct. Everything she said is correct. I'm just MAGA. I'm a Republican. I'm on the side of Trump in America. But Lisa is absolutely correct. We did steal the oil. Oil is flowing from Venezuela back to America, and the money that we're making off of the oil in Venezuela is in a Qatar account. Man, Lisa, man, woo, excellent, bro, excellent. I'll give you your props. Yes, we commandeered Venezuela. It can be argued that stole is a term. I won't take the. I don't use that terminology because I'm a MAGA Republican, right? I'm a proud American. I say acquired. I say acquisition. You know, Lisa, I say we acquired the acquisition. You know what I'm saying? That word could be problematic. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That could be problematic. But I won't quibble. I won't quibble with you about stole. But I say we acquired. White people acquire shit. Hey, Lisa, white people acquire shit. White people don't steal. White people acquire. It's an acquisition. Hey, reframe that. Acquisition of oil, right? Acquisition. And Lisa is also right about the money in Qatar permanently borrowed. Yeah, man. Permanently borrowed. But Lisa, man, I love it, man. Everything you just said is correct. You know your shit. Everything she said is correct. So let me read it again. Venezuelan oil is officially headed back to the U.S. refineries at scale starting March 10th. Straight up. She's right. She's right. And I even have somewhere here where I read about the Qatar. I have it in my notes. It's not here right now. But she's right about the oil and Qatar. Straight up. Clean tanker surge. U.S. exports of diesel and gasoline to Europe have doubled to cover the gap from Middle East. Did you guys know that? I'm sure Lisa did. Record highs. Total petroleum product exports averaged 7 million barrels per day in Q1 2026. That's up 10%. Inventory king. U.S. propane and butane inventories are at 5-year highs, making the U.S. the global liquidity provider for energy. Double tap at the like button. Right? Straight up. She's absolutely right. Maduro, let's go down the line. Venezuela. Maduro was captured January 3rd. The current leadership in Venezuela is Delcy Rodriguez, acting president. The U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright just met with her in Caracas on February 11th. Oil revenue, $2 billion in sales as of February 27th. All funds are locked in a U.S. supervised Qatari fund. Hey, double tap and give Lisa her motherfucking props, man. I love intelligent commentary. And she don't agree with me. Just because it'd be a lot. Hey, Lisa, it'd be a lot of pussy ass men who come in my chat and I gotta block they bitch ass and they get hella sensitive. But I block they bitch ass because they're not like you. The men don't know how to disagree. Men come in and they want to call you name and call you black and racist and PDF and The reason I block them, Lisa, because I give them a chance to say something intelligent and let me know if you can offer something to the argument in a debate. If you're just here to do an ad hominem attack, I'm blocking your bitch ass. And everybody watch me and see me block people. I block them bitch ass little penis men. All those insecure small penis men, I block they bitch ass. Because Lisa, they can't come in here and it's so simple. Just read a little bit. She just read a little bit. Disagree, and you can disagree with me. And she asked a real question. So America is making all this money and they're putting it in a Qatari fund. How will the American citizen benefit? You know, that's a good question. And you know what, typically what people do when someone who disagrees with you asks a good question, you know what, I'm the host and I'll just ignore that part of the question. You know what I'm saying? Lisa had such an intelligent rebuttal that what you do is you ignore that part. You ignore that part because I know what she said is correct. And I don't want to deal with the part that she's saying that is also correct about how does that money funnel back to the American people, right? So because I want to ignore that, I won't, and I'm the host, you just ignore that. Like, I don't know what's wrong with some of the insecure men that come in the chat. They don't know how to do what she did. And then me, I don't have to cuss her out. I love what she said. I acknowledge what she said is honest. And then I'm going to ignore the part that she can defeat me in an argument on, right? It's called being chicken shit. Like, I'm the host. Like, she made a hella good comment. And she even put in there, what the fuck is going to happen to the money? Perfect. And you know what? I'm just going to ignore the fact that she asked that. Ha! I'm just going to ignore the fact that she asked that and just keep championing Trump because that is some real shit. If you're listening to me, that is the conclusions you should get to. You should be getting to that. And that's what you should be talking to your local constituents, right? You should be getting to that, and you should be calling your local supervisor, your Congress, your local senator, and saying, hey, I'm not really big Democrat, Republican, but you happen to be Democrat. You're in my neighborhood. I want to know what's going to happen to the money. Ma'am, what are you talking about? See, this is what I want. I want an intelligent electorate. I have no problem with Lisa being intelligent and knowing these facts. And I wish more Americans did, so that when you go vote, you're more informed and that you do make these phone calls to your local representatives and say, hey, we're making money in Venezuela. What are we going to do with the money? How that's going to benefit Americans? How are you going to benefit this district? We need new parks. We need some of that money from Venezuela. How did you know? I read. If you want me to vote for you in 2026, you need to find out where the fuck the money is going and how it benefits this neighborhood. Straight up. Straight up. So that was a hell of a comment. That was a hell of a comment. Just great comment, man. Just a great comment. It's a great comment. Yo, Trump is the best. I'm just here to let you know I believe you are a sucker that fell for a con man, but I'm pulling for you no longer to be a sucker. So who's the con man? Who's the con man? Chris, 98. Who's the con man? These guys they don't have any intelligence. Number one, you say something like that without listening and knowing my ideology. I can easily embarrass you. Today, I dealt with this argument. Who is the real sucker? Chris, you are the real sucker because you believe in everything you hear and you don't do the proper research and read. If more people read like Lisa, this is the example of the men. Remember I talked to you about men who come in my chat, these little dick insecure men? This is an example. Chris is one of these little dick insecure men who don't know what the fuck he's talking about. He could have made an intelligent comment like you. He could have made an intelligent comment like you. So earlier, Lisa, you know what I said to men like this? I said, number one, I don't believe in their Israeli boogeyman. There is no Israeli boogeyman. The Jews and Bibi Netanyahu are not why we're in Iran. If you understand anything me and Lisa are talking about oil and gas and about America making all this money, Israel's not making the money, right? So there is no Israeli boogeyman. But you know what I said to people like Chris? I said, why don't people like Chris Be honest about the Ukraine. Be honest about Joe Biden being manipulated by Keir Starmer and Macron and NATO to fight their fight. I mean, to the point where when we invaded Iran in February 28th, Starmer did a press conference sitting next to Zelensky, and France gave Zelensky missiles, and they bombed a Russian oil facility on the same day we invaded Iran. So people think that it was NATO not helping us with the bases. It was more complex than NATO not helping us with the bases. They worked against us behind our back by giving Zelensky and Ukraine missiles while Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff were in Abu Dhabi in peace talks with Russia. And Russia said the number one thing they want is no Nazis. No Nazis and no nuclears in Ukraine. So why, when people say you fell for a sucker, no, you fell for a sucker. His name was Joe Biden. We call him Sleepy Joe. Let's go, Brandon. And he spent $300 billion in the Ukraine, and NATO just said, fuck you, despite Biden falling for their bullshit. So if anybody played us, it was NATO, it was Europe. And when we deserve for NATO to have our back because we supported Starmer and Macron in their efforts against Russia. And like I explained before you got here, I understand why Starmer and Macron are afraid of Russia proliferation. But I don't live in fucking Europe. I don't live in fucking France. I don't have an issue with Russia becoming more powerful. I am the most powerful country in the world. I have nuclear weapons. See, NATO and Europe are not nuclearized. That's what we talked about in Davos in Munich, that if NATO leaves America, they will have to invest in becoming nuclear and spend the money to get nuclearized. Right now, they're not nuclear. I'm not afraid. I get why Macron and France are afraid of a nuclearized, bigger, more powerful Russia. I'm not. But Biden said we're going to help them. Biden fell for the European romance. You know, white people love Europe. I'm a blue blood. I went to Yale. I'm related to the royals. I vacation in France. I'm a rich white motherfucker. I'm a rich white motherfucker. I love white people. I love Europe. I love my family are from Ireland. My family are from Spain. We go to Europe every summer. I'm a rich white motherfucker. And I have a romance with the monarchy. Oh, look at Princess Di. Oh, look at Meghan Markle. Oh, look at Queen. The Queen is dead. The monarchy is fallen. The House of Lords is gone. Muslims run Europe rampant. And the true boondoggle, the true suckers were the fucking Democrats who listen to fucking NATO in Europe and spent $300 fucking billion on Nazis. Oh, did I leave that part out? That spent $300 billion on Nazis. You mean, wait a minute, America is not for Nazis, right? America doesn't believe in Nazism, right? Why in Russia's peace agreement, one of the top 2 requests is no more Nazis in the Ukraine? Why would America give $300 billion to the Ukraine, help train their armed forces? Well, America helped train the Azov Battalion. Football hooligans, neo-Nazi nationalists, who were football hooligans that America helped envelop into the Ukrainian armed forces without any training. And then America, once we make this gang, once we made this football gang, this Nazi hooligan football hooligans, we make them part of the legitimate army in 2014. And then we train them. They wear Nazi badges, wolves, swastikas, all proliferated, all supported by Joe Biden. And this motherfucker want to tell me about a sucker. Who's the sucker, Chris? Who is the sucker, Chris? They don't know shit about shit, bro. They don't know shit about shit, bro. They don't know shit about shit, bro. It's so easy. Let's look up the Azov Battalion. 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 Nazi origins. The Azov Brigade, formerly the Azov Battalion, has a documented historical roots in neo-Nazi and far-right circles. The formation, 2014. These are the facts I'm giving you. I just want to give you some more facts, you guys. Let's give them some more facts about the Azov Battalion, how sleepy Joe Biden and the Democrats are responsible for the proliferation of Nazis in our current time. This never gets talked about, but I want to talk about it because we got a fucking prick in my audience. We got a bunch of fucking pricks in my audience. So let's talk about how the Democrats and Joe Biden helped the Nazis come back. Y'all hear me? How Obama, Joe Biden helped the Nazis come back in modern times. Huh? Let's read it together. That's not how it's spelled, Ray, but that's okay, Ray. If you have a YouTube channel, I'm going to give you the information in the correct spelling so you can talk about it on your YouTube channel. Right? Here it is, the correct spelling and pronunciation. A-Z-O-V. Azov Brigade, formerly Azov Battalion, has documented historical roots in neo-Nazi far-right circles. Formation, the unit was formed in May 2014 and burdens as a volunteer militia, combat pro-Russia separatists in eastern Ukraine. What happened in 2014, people? What happened in 2014? The Day of Revolution. The Day of Revolution happened in 2014. That's when Zelensky came to power and Joe Biden was vice president. Remember Burisma, the board of Burisma, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden making a quid pro quo, Joe Biden, all that bullshit he was doing in the Ukraine as vice president under Barack Obama. This is how we get here. This has nothing to do with Israel. This has nothing to do with Putin. I know you hate these facts. In 2014, Joe Biden was the vice president. He got his son a job at Burisma. Anybody remember this? We got him on a hot mic trying to make a quick pro quo, getting millions of dollars, milking the Ukraine. Joe Biden forced out the Putin-friendly president and then put in the Zelensky comedian actor. Zelensky has been in power since 2014. Is he a president or is he a dictator? How long is that? 2014 to 2026. How long is that, you guys? It's over 10 years. It's over 10 years. He's not a president. That's not a president. Give the Ukraine fair elections. To give the Ukraine fair elections. But, you know, I'm the sucker, remember? I'm the sucker. I'm the idiot. I'm the one falling for this shit. I'm the sucker. The Ukraine has had Zelensky a fucking actor since 2014. I'm the sucker, though. I'm the idiot. Oh, yeah, I'm a beat your ass, Chris. I'm a beat your ass with these facts. I'm a beat your ass with these facts. Because the Democrats don't really care about people. The Democrats don't really care about freedom and democracy. Why has Zelensky been in power since 2014? Let's keep going. Let's talk about these Nazis because it's important with Jared Kushner, Steve Wilkoff, and the Russians in Abu Dhabi in the peace talks. What Putin has said, you know, we're in peace talks in Iran. Trump has said, we're not going to have any peace if we don't get all of the uranium and they don't have a nuclear weapon. Where Putin has said, we're not going to have any peace if they don't get rid of the NATO ideals and the Nazis. Putin has two asks, and the NATO thing was the same thing why he invaded the Ukraine. Because Kamala Harris went to Munich and said the Ukraine has a right and a desire to be part of NATO. The next day, Putin started bombing. Putin has two acts in the peace agreement. NATO can never be in the Ukraine, and the Ukraine has to get rid of all of the Nazis. And Trump said he agrees. Every time we've talked about peace with Russia, and this is why another reason why Starmer and Macron are pissed, working against us, giving the Ukraine missiles, because they don't want America to benefit in the peace agreement. Starmer said it is important that Putin does not benefit in the peace agreement. What Starmer didn't say is it is also important to NATO that America does not benefit in the peace agreement. Double tap hit the motherfucking like button. You don't know shit about geopolitics. Starmer also does not want America to benefit. After our $300 billion investment, fuck Starmer, fuck Macron. Let's get back to this Nazi shit. They was formed in 2014. The founders and leadership, it was established by members of the neo-Nazi Socialist National Assembly, the SNA, and Patriot of Ukraine group. Key figures. The first commander was Andriy Brzezinski, a far-right activist who previously led the SNA and Patriot of Ukraine. Brzezinski has been quoted making white supremacist statements, including a 2010 claim that Ukraine's mission was to lead white racists into a world final crusade. This is what Joe Biden backed. I wish I was lying, but I knew these facts already. I knew these facts. This is what Joe Biden backed. Crazy Nazis who want a jihad. These are crazy white boy Nazis, just like the Muslims in Iran, and they want a jihad. They want a racial war. They want to end the world in a racial war. And he's been documented, but that's not it. This motherfucker, and I'm not even reading right now. Let me tell you what else. The motherfucker we're quoting right now, I'm sure they're going to say it in the next couple bullet points. They made this motherfucker a member of parliament. Let me keep reading. Let me see if it shows it. Let me see if it tells you. He wants the white race to have, the Black Corps. In its earliest days, the group was known as the Black Corps or Men in Black. I hate when it does that. Where was I at? It was known as the Black Corps, a name that critics note alludes to the SS official publication Das Schwarze Korps. So everything is Nazis with them. Symbolism and ideology. So let me see institutional integration and evolution. Let me see if it talks about Belinsky going to parliament. Integration, late 2014, to gain state oversight and professionalize the force, the battalion was integrated into National Guard of Ukraine. The Nazis were integrated into the National Guard of Ukraine, November 2014. The depoliticalization efforts. Following integration, the unit claims to have cleansed itself of extremist elements. Commanders such as Brzezinski left the military to enter politics, forming the National Corps Party, as active service members are prohibited from political affiliation. He went into parliament. The leader, the Nazi leader of the Azov battalion, left because he wanted to be in parliament, but he didn't really leave. He just left on paper. He was still the leader, is still a Nazi. And now part of the Ukrainian government, who we giving billions of dollars to. He is still a Nazi. He's still a racist. And now in the parliament, so he can decide what we're going to do with the billions. And we already know what he want to do. He want to do a race war. So he got in the parliament so he can decide what we do with the Americans' money, what we do with the Americans' missiles. Are you guys following this? Did you guys know any of this? Since the 2022 full-scale invasion, the brigade has been largely recast as a professional elite fighting force. That's how a lot of people know them, because they try on CNN, they framed them as heroes when they did this rescue. but they still online. They got social media. They were caught on social media still being racist pieces of shit, particularly following the defense of Mariupol in the June 2024. The U.S. Department of State lifted a long-standing ban on providing weapons and training to the unit after finding no evidence of recent gross human violations. So in June 2024, wasn't that when Biden was president? I wish this was a lie. I wish this was a lie. I wish this was a lie. Because there's so many trolls that don't know what's really going on geopolitically and they want to comment. They just don't know. Did you just hear what I said? Joe Biden said, and remember, Joe Biden was against busing. Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. How many people know Joe Biden's political history? Joe Biden had the Resolute desk. Joe Biden was friends with the KKK that was in the Congress. That was his best friend. The Ku Klux Klan leader that was in the Congress with the Resolute desk, that was Joe Biden's best friend. Joe Biden was against school busing. He didn't want his white kids going to school with black kids. And Joe Biden said, ain't nothing wrong with the Azov Battalion. Joe Biden said, ain't nothing wrong with the Azov Battalion. They good now. Everybody, Jewish, all the Jewish and black people in the chat, how you feel about it? Do you think, I want to ask all the Jewish and black and brown people in the chat, do you think someone who is a neo-Nazi and who has killed people in the efforts of being a Nazi, do you think they could change, and then can they change in a matter of months? All of the Jewish, black, and brown people in the chat, how do you feel about Joe Biden saying that these white Nazi racists had a change of heart in a couple of days? Do you believe that's possible? He's a white man. He's a white man. Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Is this a real question? Because I know the answer. I know the answer. It's like a woman who, would a woman feel safe with a sex offender in the car alone? No, she wouldn't. Oh, I'm rehabilitated. I'm not going to touch you, lady. A woman would not feel comfortable alone in the car with a man who had been convicted of sexual assault. She just wouldn't. I wouldn't make her feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable around him, I understand. He's a convicted sexual offender. He's on the list. He has a red dot on his name. If you go to his house, there's a red dot. Remember Drake? They not like us. They not like us. Don't. They not like us. So if a woman don't feel comfortable around Drake, I get it. I will not say to that woman, he's rehabilitated. He went to anger management classes. It's okay. You can be alone with him. No, I would not make that woman be alone with him. So I'm asking you, can a Nazi who was killing people, who wanted a world war, would you be in the room with him alone? Because Joe Biden said give them guns. Joe Biden made them soldiers. Joe Biden said they okay now. Senator Byrd of West Virginia, the Resolute desk. Joe Biden said they okay now. We can train them. We can give them guns. We can, they're not Nazis anymore. Can you be not Nazi anymore? It's like not being Crip anymore. If you Crip, you Crip. You just don't bang. It's like not being blood anymore. If you a blood, you a blood. If you a gangster, if you a GD, if you a BD, if you a GD, you just don't bang. But you always GD, homie. Folk, you always that. Vice Lord, Freddie Gibbs talk about the biggest Lord, Vice Lord, millions of dollars rapper. You always VL, you always Vice Lord. You just don't bang no more. You always a Nazi. If I'm a black man, you always a Nazi to me. I don't give a fuck if you don't bang no more. You always a Nazi to me. You always a Nazi to me. Straight up. What else will we got today? You always a Nazi to me. I don't want to hear that. Can y'all believe Joe Biden and this all because Chris came in the chat and tried to say I was the fool. This all because Chris came in the chat and wanted to say the people who follow Trump are the ones who were suckered. And today it's so funny that he was so dumb, but God is good. God be guiding the podcast. I know y'all see the numbers low, but I believe in God. The reason I believe in Republican ideology is because I was raised Southern Baptist. You know, it'd be weird to me. I was thinking about the other day. You know what's weird to me is that everybody don't act like how their grandmama raised them. My grandmama bought me penny loafers. My grandmother gave me $1 to put in my penny loafers. I miss my grandmother. She took me to church every Sunday. We went to Popeyes after church. Most Sundays, we would go to 2 times. We would go to church in the morning and at 3 o'clock. Sometimes we went to church 3 times on Sunday. If she could get me, she would take me to Sunday school. She would take me to 11 a.m. service. Then we would go to lunch with the pastor, and then she would take me to 3 o'clock service. If she could get me every Sunday as a child. I grew up with Christian conservative values. What's weird to me is when people come in my chat and say, you're black, you're supposed to be Democrat. That's the sick part. It's like, bro, I'm not being a sellout. I'm not acting black. I'm the blackest person I know. I'm a Southern Baptist Christian conservative. What's weird to me is that you don't have any Christian principles. If you don't understand what black culture is in America, soul food, rhythm and blues. Like, what's weird to me is those people who see a black man of my age and don't get Southern Baptist, don't get Christian conservative, don't get, I live my life the way my grandmother raised me. What's weird is you guys are the weird ones. You guys are the weird ones. Like, I'm not making shit up. I live how grandmother raised me. Early one Sunday morning, pew, pew, breakfast was on the table, pew, pew. There was no time to eat. She said to me, boy, hurry to Sunday school. We learned a holy story. Pew, pew. We learned a holy story. I wanted to do the MLK speech. I don't know how you grew up, but I looked up to Ski. Ski's father was the head usher, Deacon Scott. Deacon Scott was a player from San Francisco. He was 80 years old at the head of the church, 7 foot tall with diamonds and gold everywhere. Big ass Cadillac, big ass house in San Francisco. I looked up to Ski. I looked up to Deacon Scott. Ski got to do the Martin Luther King speech. I said, Grandma, you hear my voice cracking because I missed them all. I said, Grandma, I want to do the MLK speech. I got it memorized because this is what we did in black churches. This is what we did in black churches. We celebrated MLK Day. The kids memorized the speech. We did a whole program. We would dance and sing and reenactments. I wanted to do the MLK speech. Ski got to do the MLK speech. That was my big bro. I looked up to him. He did a great job. I grew up in that church environment, loving Martin Luther King, loving my black grandmother, loving Christian conservative values. She paid tithes. She paid taxes. She had employees. She paid tithes. She paid taxes. She had employees. She had conservative Republican principles and ideals. She had a beautiful multiple homes in the San Francisco Bay Area. She owned more than 2-3 homes. Maybe when she passed, maybe 5 homes. She had employees and property, and she went to church every Sunday. And as a child, she took me, she bought me suits. I grew up as an affluent black in San Francisco. She bought me suits and penny loafers. I had a brand new suit every Sunday. Anybody grew up like that with a grandmother with a Cadillac and money? She bought me suits, trench coats, penny loafers. I grew up in San Francisco. I got pictures of me as a kid with 3-piece suits and the matching trench coat and the hat and penny loaf. I'm not the only black kid who grew up like that. I'm not bragging. I'm talking to you about black culture. We all grew up like this in the 80s. I wasn't the only little black boy in my suit, in my shoes, clean and sharp as a tack. The church was full. We went across at 3 p.m. Sometimes we went across town to sing. That church was full of little black boys like me, little black girls in beautiful dresses and stockings. Bobby socks and stockings, dresses past their knees, hair pressed and combed. Christian conservative values. The women wore dresses past their knees. The women combed their hair. No weaves, no makeup. So when I see the weaves and the makeup, the BBLs, the whorish promiscuity, the gay children, that's what's weird to me. That's what's weird to me. And I'm only saying this, bro, because so many people don't understand the basis of a conservative black channel. They don't get the political basis. They see the thumbnails, they listen for 30 seconds, and then they go somewhere, or they say a comment before they truly listen to the ideology of the content creator and the channel and the host. Very few people will listen and understand. Most people are robots today. I agree, bro. I just had to say that, man, because Chris gave us an opportunity to highlight some things, and I just wanted to share it's a lot of new people here. I don't know what's going on with the algorithm. I usually have big days, man. I'll be having 200,000 views. I'll be having thousands of people watching me. Lately, this week, I noticed with other content creators too, the algorithm, I think it's something to do with the Iran content, because I think they want to drive a certain narrative. But the algorithm is a certain way. Somebody said, I want to delete you. I want to debate you. You sound like a robot. You couldn't even. This is what happens a lot too. This premature ejaculation. This fake bullshit. I want to delete you. I want to debate you. You couldn't even say a sentence with 4 words, no multiple syllables. You couldn't even get it out right. You couldn't even get it out right. Because this is what you really meant. I want to delete you because you're racist. You're a racist and you hate. You don't want to debate. You're a racist and you hate. Because like Lisa, and this is always men. Earlier, there was a lady who disagreed with me. She put a very intelligent comment in the chat that I could not rebut. If you truly wanted to debate me, you would put an intelligent comment in the chat that I would be unable to rebut like Lisa did. But you actually hate me. You hate Trump. You have a mental illness. That is the truth in reality. You hate. You're a hate monger. You don't have the intellect to disagree because you have the freedom of speech. And you could very easily put a comment in the chat or use the super chat and donate. It could cost you $5. Put it in the super chat. Make a comment that I cannot refute if you want to debate. You don't call me a name and say I want to debate you. Lisa didn't do that. Why didn't the women do that? Why do the women just simply put a comment? And she made a comment. I couldn't refute what she said. I call them empty barrel noises, right? I'm living my grandmother's legacy. Numbers isn't the answer. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Straight up, man. Straight up. Keep it in the book. As of April 2026, Iran is experiencing severe food shortages and rapidly rising prices, driven by a 400% increase in bread costs and major disruptions from ongoing conflict. Today's topic is we are discussing America has won the conflict in Iran, and I'm giving you the evidence behind why I believe America has won the conflict in Iran and Cuba and Venezuela, and why Donald Trump has changed the geopolitical climate in the globe forever. Listen to my argument. I'm going to read to you what is happening on the ground that people are not telling you. This is what's happening on the ground. As of April 2026, Iran is experiencing severe food shortages and rapidly rising prices, driven by a 400% increase in bread costs and major disruptions from ongoing conflict. Households are facing severe shortages with skyrocketing inflation, making staples like bread, rice, and dairy unaffordable, resulting in long lines. Food shortages and economic crises in Iran. Bread crisis. Traditional bread prices have surged up $5 per unit, representing a 400% increase driven by global blockades. This is what is the result of the Trump blockade. They're not telling you about what's happening on the ground, that the Iranian people are starving. Widespread shortages. The nation is experiencing severe shortages of basic goods, including bread, rice, and cooking oil. Hyperinflation. Food price inflation in Iran has risen 40% in the past year. Over a long term, 2011 to 2023, bread costs have risen 3 to 4 times. I said this didn't start in February 28th. And potato prices have tripled. The social contract has fallen in Iran. This is not something that just happened. This is not something that just happened. Reduced purchasing power. And remember what I said, how long will it take Iran to get back to their purchasing power and to rebuild those supply chains? Reduced purchasing power. While food prices have nearly doubled between January 2025 and January 2026, median salaries have not kept pace, resulting in severe food insecurity for a large portion of the population. Supply chain disruptions. The blockade of the Straits of Hormuz has disrupted the import of essential goods and fertilizers, exacerbating domestic food scarcity. Help me out, y'all. Impact on consumers. Long lines. Reports indicate growing panic and long lines for basic food items like bread. Food insecurity. The inability to afford healthy diet has increased substantially, with about 1/4 of the population residing in slums. America won! America won! Trump was right! Trump was right! The inability to afford healthy diet has increased substantially, with about 1/4 of the population residing in slums. Moderate to severe food insecurity, rising costs. Household expenses are severely strained by skyrocketing costs, with rice prices increasing 7-fold and vegetable oil 3-fold. No one is talking about this. No one is talking about this. I'm the only one telling you America has won. Not only have we won because Iran has an inability to feed its people, but we have won. We have won because how long will it take Iran to get back to the point where it can produce enough flour to make enough bread to feed the people? Do you guys realize it will take humanitarian aid? Iran, when the conflict is done, Iran won't be able to feed its own people. Countries like Russia and China will have to help them.
It's April, and in the quiet hours before dawn in the cities surrounding Tehran, the silence is broken not by bird song, but by the rhythmic, heavy shuffling of feet. These are the bread lines a haunting fixture of Iranian life that has transformed from a periodic frustration into a desperate day vigil. Hello and welcome. I'm Radhika Dhawad, and you are watching The Big Picture with me. As a 14-day ceasefire between the United States and Iran is set to expire today, the atmosphere is heavy with more than just the smog of the metropolis. It is thick with the scent of uncertainty and the primitive fear of hunger. For millions of Iranians, the everything crisis of 2026 has narrowed the scope of the world down to a single essential question: will there be bread today? In
Will there
Iran,
be, come
bread
on.
is not merely a side dish, it is the foundational calorie. It is the silent partner in every meal, the reliable safety net for the poor, and the sacred symbol of dignity. But today, that cornerstone is crumbling. Multiple citizen accounts describe a reality where bakeries, the heartbeats of local neighborhoods, are pulsing irregularity. In Malad and other suburbs, residents describe a night of horror not just from the threat of aerial strikes, but from the realization that their currency has lost its voice. A single loaf of Barbary, a traditional flatbread that once cost pennies, is now being traded for 250,000 Iranian riyals, roughly $5. So
Y'all hear that? I just reported that. Bread that used to cost pennies is now trading for
in Malad
$5.
and other suburbs, residents describe a night of horror not just from the threat of aerial strikes, but from the realization that their currency has lost its voice. A single loaf of Barbary, a traditional flatbread that once cost pennies, is now being traded for 250,000 Iranian riyals, roughly $5. Sangag, the sourdough staple, has soared to 350,000 riyals, $7. To put it into perspective, the government's approved official rates are a fraction of this, 55,000 and 76,000 riyals respectively. Now, this gap is a canyon. It represents a system where the official reality and the lived reality no longer speak the same language. So, when a basic staple triples in price overnight, it is not just inflation, it is an emotional assault on the household. The irony of this crisis is etched into the calendar. Only 2 days ago, Iran marked National Wheat and Bread Day.
Remember, I was teaching you this. Only 2 days ago, Iran marked National Wheat and Bread Day, and now they are starving in lines. Look at this. Everybody telling you about Iran and Trump is wrong, Iran is winning. This is propaganda. Most of the people saying this are related to the caliphate, and they want to push the propaganda because they know their aunties and uncles are starving. The reality on the ground is not the AI images being put out by Iran. This is the first time Americans can see what is going on the streets of Iran. And it did not start February 28th. I pray you guys listen to what I am saying. The starvation, the shortages, the inflation did not start February 28th, which is why it is crumbling. This is what they won't tell you. By us simply remaining in a blockade in the Straits of Hormuz, the Iranian people, like Cuba, will starve. And next, the hospitals. Listen, let me go to this story. Next, the hospitals. You got to hear me? Next, the hospitals. In Cuba, hospitals have closed. Children can't get surgeries, and there's a 96,000 backlog.
At this point, there are over 96,000 people who are online or waiting in queues to get surgeries and have not been able to.
11,000 children among tens of thousands waiting for surgery in Cuba due to U.S. blockade. The reason I'm bringing up Cuba and the blockade and the results is because you guys have to understand what I am teaching you about Iran today is the result of the blockade. So when people say something about America not winning the war, I argue we have a successful blockade in Cuba. Are you listening? We have a successful blockade in Cuba. Cubans cannot go to the hospital. Children in Cuba can't get surgeries. Cuba does not have food. Cuba does not have power. Cuba will bend to America's will or it will starve. Iran is in the same position because of a similar blockade. We don't have to fire another missile at Iran. As long as we keep the blockade in place, people will begin to starve and die. Hospitals will shut down and they will surrender or die. Listen, look at this photograph. Look at what it looks like on the streets of Iran.
A video posted on X reveals a heartbreaking scene in Malard, on the outskirts of Tehran. Crowds of women and children waiting in endless lines as flour supplies run dry. This reflects the crushing weight of daily life as Iran's economy spirals, supply chains fracture, and the Islamic regime forces civilians to shoulder the cost of its gross mismanagement. While the dictatorship pours funds into stockpiling missiles and weaponry to defy the US, domestic flour reserves have been completely depleted. As the threat of famine looms larger, how much longer can the Iranian people endure this?
How much longer? Same in Cuba. Same in Cuba. Before they make a deal, before Cuba is forced to come to the negotiation table. Because remember, Marco Rubio just left Cuba. J.D. Vance just left peace talks with Iran. Iran didn't show up. How long can they keep it going? This is real talk. America has won.
The first thing to vanish in Iran wasn't the missiles, it was the bread. A video posted on X.
The first thing to vanish in Iran wasn't the missiles, it was the bread. The first thing to vanish in Iran wasn't the missiles, it was the bread. No one is making this juxtaposition. I am comparing what's happening in Cuba due to an American blockade, and I am saying this will be the reality in Iran because of an American blockade.
Historically, this was a day of wheat celebrations, a legacy of the early 2000s when the country proudly declared itself self-sufficient in grain. But as we stand in April 2026, that self-sufficiency is revealed as a fragile mirage. Despite official rhetoric, the math tells a different story. In the 10 months leading up to Feb, Iran was forced to import approximately 2.75 million tons of wheat valued at nearly $1 billion.
So did you hear that? She said in the 10 months leading up to February 28th, I keep explaining to you this food crisis, the Iranian inflation, what's really happening in Iran did not start February 28th. Iran has been starving for some time now, and it has gotten, with America's blockade, it has reached a point of equilibrium where something has to give. She said 10 months, Iran has been starving. They had to borrow wheat that cost them $1 billion. They don't have the money to pay it back because the straits are closed. That means they can't get no more wheat. Listen to what she said. This did not start February 28th. They have been starving, going back to the 12-day war. This is the Iranian regime, the IRGC, mismanaging the money, spending the money on Hezbollah, Houthis, and missiles. Are you guys listening? This is the same thing in how the Ayatollah Khomeini came to power in 1979. The IRGC, the current regime, has mismanaged Iranian money to the point that the Iranian people have been starving for the past several years. And now, with the blockade from Trump, the system is going to crack. That's my argument.
Iran was forced to import approximately 2.75 million tons of wheat valued at nearly $1 billion. The geopolitical landscape of 2026 has turned these imports into a logistical nightmare. While much of the grain originates in Russia, it must navigate the labyrinth of intermediaries, the UAE, Turkey, and Oman. These are not just stops on the map. They are expensive detours necessitated by the global financial blockade.
So, did you hear what she said? The wheat originates in Russia, but because of the American blockade, it now has to go through Turkey and the UAE, and it's going to cost more money to get it to Iran, and Iran is poor because the straits are closed. Are y'all understanding these? This is what it's like to be a politician. This is what it's like to be a president. You have to deal with shit like this. How do I get food to my people? Even if they got money, I can't get the food to them. My job as the president is to make negotiations, to open up passageways, trade deals, to get food to my people. It's hard being a politician. They can't get food to their people.
Iran is largely severed from international banking. Every ton of wheat carries a sanction tax, extra cost for middlemen, complex payment swaps, and the high risk premiums of
Every piece of wheat got to go through a middleman in taxes and sanctions. Ooh, listen to this.
every ton of wheat carries a sanction tax, extra cost for middlemen, complex payment swaps, and the high risk premiums of shipping through the volatile Persian Gulf. The
America won. America won. And what you don't understand about this volatility is what I keep saying and reminding you about COVID. How long will it take once this conflict is over? How long will it take to build back these supply chains? I argue, much like COVID, it will never get back to pre-February 28th levels. We have damaged it so badly, it will never get back to pre-February 2028 levels. It will always be less wheat in Iran. Those supply chains will never get back to 100%. That's just the way logistics work. That's just the way logistics work. Those supply chains will be forever damaged, just like what happened to us in the quarantine, in the moratorium. If you remember the economics, they said it would take 20 to 30 years for America to get back to pre-COVID levels. And some things will never get back. We were so damaged by COVID quarantine, some things will never go back to pre-COVID levels. I told you the bacon is 12 ounces. It's not 16 ounces. It's not going back. Some things will never be the same. Some things will always be smaller. That's what we went through. We went through a major transition with COVID. Iran will see similar changes. Some things will never go back to the way they were. I know a lot of young people watching this. This got to make you upset. Because this is some real life stuff. This is not playing around. This is not play. Some things will never get back to the way they were. And things are supposed to improve. How would you feel in this generation? Things are supposed to improve. And I argue things will never get back to the way they were in some instances.
2026 national budget submitted under the shadow of conflict reveals the government's desperate attempts to keep the peace through the stomach. Over $3 billion US dollars, 5,000 trillion riyals has been earmarked for bread subsidies. Yet on the ground, the free flour system is taking over. Now, under the pressure of the naval blockade and domestic strikes on energy infrastructure, the government has been forced to scale back.
Let's deal with this racial comment in the chat. Because I watched a lot of shit today, and a lot of the people from the Middle East have these racial things to say. Do you guys get that this is racist? I'm not even talking directly to the idiot who put this in the chat, but does my people and the intelligent people watching understand that this is racist? They used to do this to black people. You know, because we're black, we can take more pain. That's in medicine to this day. You know, black mothers are the #1 people to die in pregnancy and childbirth, because there's this ideology in medicine that black women can take pain. And when black women complain about bleeding after giving birth, the medical professionals don't listen and the woman dies. Because there's this racist trope that blacks can take more pain. And you're using racism to say a politician should see the Iranian people as different humans because they're from Iran. That's racist, bro. Hunger is hunger. This is why we like the movie The Hunger Games. This is why we like some of the horror movies that are more realistic, based in reality, because some of the new horror films, like the Squid Games and different things like that, it makes people get rid of these racist things that Chinese is so strong and Japanese are so smart. That's all bullshit. That's why I like the Squid Games. Hunger is hunger. This is a racist comment. Hunger is hunger. And we all know that now because it's 2026. If you watch Survivor, if you watch any of these games, all of that shit, I'm Iran, I'm Chinese, I'm Japanese, all that shit go out the window when you're hungry. This is a racist comment. This is a racist comment. Who have the Iranian people been? They're stronger because they're Iranian. Like black people, they don't feel pain. This is a racist comment. Huh? And then every time I'm smarter than the troll, and I'm always smarter than the troll, they never respond to what they initially said. You see what he's saying? He's changing it. He's moving the goalposts. This is what they always do. Just pussy ass bitch. Move the goalposts. Just call yourself a pussy ass bitch because I'm gonna call you a pussy ass bitch. RXAXGXE is a pussy ass bitch. You're a pussy ass bitch. That's why I told you earlier, I just blocked these pussy ass bitches. They pussy ass bitches with hate speech. And every time I defeat them logically, they move the goalposts. What a pussy. What a pussy and a bitch. Somebody said, who gives a fuck about racism? I don't know what you mean by that, bro. Who gives a fuck about a racist comment? I do. What does 2026 have to do with racism and the comment not being relevant? This is like I asked a question earlier to all the black and brown people in the chat and the Jewish people. Can someone stop being a Nazi? There'd be a lot of insecure white men who watch me, bro. Because I have conservative ideas, these insecure white men come in, and then as soon as I say something about racism being real, they get sensitive, like racism doesn't matter because they white and they feel guilt. Racism matters, bitch. Racism is real, bitch. You little dick white pussy. God damn. The Azov Battalion. That's that attitude that he showed is how we still have racism in the country. Because people like him who, and it's a joke, it's actually an N-word joke. He's actually being racist when he does that. He's actually being racist and he's giggling under his breath. Because that's how you keep racism around. And that's why Joe Biden said the Azov Battalion is not Nazis anymore. Imagine that. Imagine when Hitler was around. Imagine Hitler and the Nazis and some white racist politician coming out and saying, oh, that's all good. Hitler apologized. We're going to be friends with them. They're not Nazis no more. Imagine that. Imagine if that's the way it went. Because remember, Henry Ford, there was a lot of white racist Americans who helped Hitler. I said there were a lot of white racist Americans who were very powerful and rich who helped Hitler financially with the Blitzkrieg, the Jeeps, the tanks, the drugs. And we waited to come into the war and we brought the Nazis over here. We saved the Nazis. We brought the Nazis to America. We helped hide them in Argentina. And this motherfucker want to say, why does racism matter? Stupid motherfucker. Stupid motherfucker. Biden said the Azov Battalion, who I educated you guys about today, the Nazi, and this is the thing, you guys, they weren't not only Nazis, they were criminal hooligans. They weren't like Nazis walking around in suits They were the type of street gang Nazis to chase black people home. Drunk, high, beat up, and kill black people who were just walking home from work. That's the type of people these were. Football hooligans get drunk, get rowdy, and go beat up some blacks. Those are the people Joe Biden trained and made military, and then later said they have repented so we can now work with them and give them guns and training. How do we get there? That stupid motherfucker in the chat that says, well, racism doesn't matter anymore. We can forgive the Azov battalion. Racism isn't real. We can forgive the Azov battalion. Racism isn't real.
Subsidized flour. Many bakers now operate in a grey market, buying flour at market rates and passing the cost to a public already reeling from 140% inflation in the cereal sector. This creates a cruel inequality. The official line, subsidies are intact, wheat stocks are sufficient.
So remember earlier when I was telling you about this whole thing, and I was saying to you, the wheat comes from Russia, but the factories to mill the wheat into flour have been shut down. Are you guys looking at the screen? Remember, I gave you the mathematics. So when you go to the barbershop, when you have debates, I said the wheat comes from Russia. The supply chain has been broken down, but it's a twofold issue. The wheat can't get to Iran. But behind me right now, what you see are the facilities where if Russia could get wheat to Iran, it would go here to be processed into flour. This is also shut down. So not only is the wheat not making it to Iran, these facilities that process the wheat into flour are down. So when you're in your debate at the barbershop and you say that America has won because Iran is starved out and will eventually make a deal, you show them these pictures that you let them know Iran gets its wheat from Russia. It can't get it because of the blockade. But even if it could, the factories it needs to turn it into flour are shut down. This is a real problem. And what I keep saying, if you look at the size of this factory, is once they're able to get the supply chains back up and running, which I say they will never be at the same speed as before, but once they get the supply chains back up and running, how long will it take to get this plant fully back online? And can this plant, whoever works in the plant, who works in the plant in the factory, can this plant ever get fully back online? Or will it always work at a lower capacity because of what it went through during this time? People not think about the moratorium. Certain things in plants, because you got to use them, you got to oil them. When people came back to work after 2 years, certain machines got taken off a line. The plant and what the plant could produce went down. And then the employees like, fuck, this COVID shit was deeper than I thought. This COVID shit was deeper than I thought. The plant was closed down for 6 months. Because the plant was closed down for 6 months because of COVID, certain machines didn't get serviced. The owner can't afford to buy another machine at $200,000. It's off the floor now. We don't make as much stuff as we used to. The owner can't buy another machine. This is real life logistics. How long before this plant that is shut down gets back to 100%? And also the question is, will it ever get back to 100% of what it produced? Can it logistically, or would you have to build a new plant? Can this facility get back to 100% of what it produced? I say no. I say no. That's not how plants and logistics and machines and things work.
Grey market, buying flour at market rates and passing the cost to a public already reeling from 140% inflation in the cereal sector. This creates a cruel inequality. The official line, subsidies are intact, wheat stocks are sufficient. The street reality, bakeries are closing at noon because they've run out of flour. Long queues that end in empty hands, prices that fluctuate based on the morning news of a blockade. As we watch the silhouette of tankers sitting motionless in a dark, stormy Strait of Hormuz, we must look beyond the military hardware, viewers. The real front line of the Iran conflict is the kitchen table. When a government can no longer guarantee the price.
Patty, you can't be cussing like that. Can't be cussing like that in the comment section. They be tripping. You gotta, I can cuss. It's my show. You can't be cussing like that. No F-bombs in the chat, please.
Of a loaf of bread, it loses more than just economic control. It loses its social contract. History reminds us that the Arab Spring of 2011 was not just about Twitter and democracy. It began with a spike in global wheat prices. In 2026, the stakes.
Let's see. Listen to that again, because that is so important. Arab Spring. A lot of us heard about Arab Spring. This is the first time that you've heard. And this person is not, I said this yesterday, she's not a Democrat, she's not a Republican, she's not a Muslim. She's not a Democrat, she's not a Republican, she's not a Muslim. And she just talked about Arab Spring. And she said, if you guys remember Arab Spring, it wasn't just about what they told you on the news. It was about the wheat and people being hungry. And that's why I called out that guy earlier and said his comment was racist, because I said hunger is hunger. Double tap at the like button. Hunger is hunger.
That the Arab Spring of 2011 was not just about Twitter and democracy. It began with a spike in global wheat prices. In 2026, the stakes are even higher. We are seeing a weaponization of staples, where fuel shortages affect tractors, fertilizer cost affects yields, and blockades affect the final loaf. Now consider this: a middle-class family in Tehran, which only a year ago enjoyed a stable life, is now buying dairy on installment plans and standing in the line for hours for Barbary.
Trump, America has won. America has won. America has won. Double tap hit the like button, man. America has won. It's indisputable. America has won. A upper middle class family in Iran is now buying food every day on credit and waiting in line. She said a wealthy middle class family in Iran who just a year ago could eat whatever they wanted because they were wealthy middle class. She said a wealthy middle class family in Iran with just a year ago could buy and eat whatever they wanted are now eating on credit and buying food every day and waiting in lines. Blood, nobody has answered the question of how long do you think this keeps going? How long do you think rich Iranians, rich Persians will starve? Man, y'all not paying attention, man. Y'all not paying attention, man. Y'all not paying attention, man.
Middle-class family in Tehran, which only a year ago enjoyed a stable life, is now buying dairy on installment plans and standing in the line for hours for Barbary. They're experiencing a humiliation of the stomach. This creates a dangerous alliance between the urban middle class and the rural poor, both united by a shared sense that life has become unlivable. So,
y'all hear that? She said this creates a dangerous alliance between the wealthy and the poor, who both agree that Iranian life has become unlivable under the current regime. That has nothing to do with Trump. That has nothing to. Are y'all paying attention to the geopolitics? The same thing is happening in Cuba. Trump is a genius. America has won the war.
What is the emotional cost of a $7 loaf of bread? It is the father who skips his meal so that his children can have their portion. It is the elderly woman who stands for 4 hours in the cold only to be told the oven is off. It is the erosion of trust that happens every time a citizen hears a politician claim self-sufficiency while they stare at an empty bakery shelf. As the ceasefire deadline looms this April 22nd, the world focuses on missiles and periscopes, but the most powerful force in Iran today is not found in a silo. It is found in the quiet, simmering anger of the bread line.
The bread line. She said the most powerful thing in Iran today is not the blockade, not Trump. What is the most dangerous thing to the current regime is the bread line. The most dangerous thing to the current regime is the bread line. Trump is a genius. Trump is a genius, and America won the war. Trump is a genius, and America won the war. So there's an idiot in the chat who is premature ejaculating, putting multiple comments in the chat. MM, the premature small penis. How did Trump do this? How did Trump do this? Because you only been here 5 seconds. You haven't listened to anything. I'm going to use you as an idiot, and I'm going to make fun of you, and I'm going to use you to teach. How did Trump do this? How did Trump do this, dum-dum? Once upon a time, a German had the biggest barbecue in history. All these people are racist. I guess that's a Jewish, you trying to be racist toward the Jews? Again, the Jews are not why we're here. And if you would have listened for 5 seconds, if you just would have listened for 5 seconds and you weren't such a immature, premature ejaculator, you would have heard my comparison. And you would have heard me say, the truth is, you're speculating. You can't prove whether or not Israel and Bibi Netanyahu is behind our invasion. I can prove that Biden fucked up and got us here, but you can't prove that. That's just a racial speculation. But what I ask racists like you, and number one, I don't know why YouTube allows you to do this racist shit. YouTube is full of shit and they should block your racist ass. But I ask racists like you, why weren't you concerned about the Ukraine? That's why we've been talking about it today. That's how we got here. Because someone else said the racists I'm telling you, these people are racist against Jews. Why aren't you concerned about the fact that Macron and Starmer tricked us into a war with the Ukraine to protect European interests and then pull the rug out from underneath us when we invade Iran? NATO did not have our back. But Europe and France, who have a legitimate concern with Russia. America has no concern. Eric Jordan with the $2 super chat. The art of the deal, Trump standing on business. Facts. So, racist Kingsman. Why don't people like you ever bring up the fact that Joe Biden, old sleepy ass, was manipulated by Starmer and Macron and cost America $300 billion and helped proliferation of the Nazis in the modern era? And there's evidence of that. There's no evidence to support this Israel hoax. Just like the Russia hoax, in a year, we will be proven that it was an Israel hoax. There is no proof behind the people saying Israel's not benefiting from our oil. I just gave the facts about $7 billion being made from Venezuela. Venezuela is back online, and Venezuelan oil is going back to American refineries. We have billions of dollars in the Qatar offshore account. Israel's not making money off of Venezuela. Israel's not making money off of the Straits of Hormuz. But Joe Biden was manipulated by NATO and the Europeans to go into Ukraine. Joe Biden did cost us $300 billion. Joe Biden almost got us into a world war with a nuclear power. Iran is not a nuclear power. Do you understand why I'm calling you a racist and an idiot? Iran is not a nuclear power. Joe Biden uses Ukraine as a proxy to fight against Russia, and Joe Biden and Kamala say we need to be scared of Putin. We need to be scared of communism, like it's 1950, like it's the Red Scare, like it's the Berlin Wall. You know what I said to my wife? You know what I've been saying to my audience? I said to my wife, who's in her 30s, I'm in my late 40s. I said, do you know about the Berlin Wall? I said, do you know about East and West Germany? She didn't fucking know. My wife is intelligent. She has a degree. She has a great job. She's just young. I think she should know. I think people like you should know. I think people like me who talk about these subjects, I think people who claim to be intelligent about geopolitics should know about the Berlin Wall, about East and West Germany, but they don't. And because a lot of people in America don't remember the Berlin Wall, East and West Germany, and that communism has fallen, and that Russia and Putin don't represent a threat to American principles and ideology, they believed Stallmer. They believed NATO. They believed Macron. And we spent $300 billion in Ukraine in a losing battle. In a losing battle. Because France and Europe are afraid of Russia. And I understand why. Because France and Europe are not nuclear. This is what's happening. All behind this Iran, there's so much geopolitical things happening that you don't really understand. As the NATO breaks down, France, and they will have to acquire nuclear weapons and become nuclearized and remilitarize. Without America, they will be forced to militarize and nuclearize. So they are afraid of Russia. I understand why NATO and Europe and France and Spain are afraid of Russia. It makes sense. Russia has an army, they have nuclear weapons. And if NATO is not going to, if America, I need to stop saying NATO. If America is no longer in love with the monarchy, if the romance is over from World War II, and I am so fucking happy it's over. I am so fucking happy the romance is dead. The European romance is fucking over. Fuck Joe Biden. Fuck Kamala Harris. Fuck you fucking liberals who fucked us over in the Ukraine. But what you did is you made sure that the American people's romance with Europe is dead. It will never come back because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the Democrats lied and fucked us because Macron and Stallmer lied and fucked us. Our love, our romance with Europe and NATO is over. Fuck NATO, fuck Macron, fuck Stallmer, fuck the monarchy. Why don't racists talk about Macron and Stallmer manipulating Biden into a $300 billion war that's still going on? We're still in the conflict with Russia. We're still wasting money. Ukrainians are still dying. We're still there, motherfuckers. We're still there, you racist fucking idiot motherfucker. We're still there. And fucking on February 28th, Macron and Stallmer gave Zelensky missiles behind our back. We have peace talks with Russia. We're bringing Russia into the G8. NATO doesn't want us to have peace with Russia. NATO doesn't want us to benefit and make money from our peace agreement with Russia. So Stallmer sat with Zelensky, gave him money, gave him missiles, and said, we're going to continue to back Ukraine. We're not backing America and Iran. Stallmer and Macron said, we're not backing America and Iran. We're going to continue to back the Ukraine. Can you fucking believe it? We're going to continue to back the Ukraine. The Ukraine lost 2 years ago. You don't have a nuclear weapon. They don't have nuclear weapons. If Russia crashes out, what happens? America is forced into a World War III because of Biden bitch ass. The only reason the world is calm is because Putin is a great leader. Putin realizes that Biden was a fuck around. But what if Putin gets tired of America and all of you trolls in the chat? What if Putin gets tired of playing with Macron in France and says, fuck these motherfuckers? I tried to work with Trump. I tried to work with America. Fuck them. Putin hasn't done that yet. Putin is chilling. But what if Putin says, fuck them? Can Macron stop it? Can Stallmer stop it? Can Zelensky and Ukraine stop Russia and Putin? These are realities that we don't discuss. We should be thanking God that Putin is not what the media says, not what Kamala said, not what Biden said. Because if Putin was as bad as Stallmer and Biden make him out to be, things would look very different geopolitically. Greenland is why I always argue that we were always going to go into Iran. What Dag said about Greenland, this is how I always predicted we were always going to Iran. We wouldn't be in Iran right now if our NATO allies would have agreed to Greenland and the Golden Dome. We wouldn't be in Iran right now. We would still be going to invade Iran, but we would have established the Golden Dome first. And with that protection, we would have invaded Iran. We were always going to invade Iran. We were always going to invade Iran. Somebody said, was that 1989, the fall of the Berlin Wall? Shout out to you. Not just the Berlin Wall, but I bring it up because of what it represents when we talk about these regimes. I don't bring up the Berlin Wall to sound smart, bro. And thank you for putting 1989. I don't bring up the Berlin Wall to sound smart, bro. I bring up the Berlin Wall to bring up how these regimes fell. And when he said Gorbachev tear down that wall, culturally, just like in Iran, just like in Venezuela, just like in Cuba, when he said Gorbachev tear down that wall, it was mostly symbolism. Because culturally, when I bring up my wife and your children not knowing about the Berlin Wall and Eastern, culturally, humans had already transitioned. The reason Gorbachev had to tear down that wall, why it came down and no one looked back, is because human psyche and culture had already shifted away from their grandfather's beliefs. The Red Scare, communism, KGB, espionage, the young people had already shifted away from their grandfather's beliefs. Reagan was an old man, Gorbachev was old. It wasn't, that's why no one even remembers. It was famous for a long time. Ronald Reagan, Gorbachev, tear down that wall, was famous. Why isn't it famous? Culturally, there was already a shift. When I show you bread lines in Iran, what you guys are not seeing is that culturally, there's a shift taking place. It has nothing to do with Trump or Israel. I bring it up because it's the same thing that happened with the Berlin Wall. There was a cultural shift. Reagan just was there at the right time and said the right thing, and he benefited, but Reagan didn't cause a cultural, ideological change in the human psyche. Reagan didn't do that. That just happens over time. When new generations are born, they don't believe what the same old generation believes. And then another generation is born, they don't believe what the generation before it or even remember what that other generation. That's what we're at in Iran. Not only does the new generation not believe what their fathers believe, they don't remember what the grandfather believed. So the caliphate, Sharia, all that shit is dead. It's gone, bro. And it has nothing to do with anything you're thinking about. That's why I bring up the Berlin Wall. That's why I bring up East and West Germany. Because what's happening in Iran is similar to what took place in Germany. These are ideological, psychological, cultural shifts within the human psyche that are so complex, it may not even be a good place to discuss it on YouTube. But what's happening in Iran is just that. People are younger. They don't feel the same way about communism. They don't feel the same way about Islam. What happened in Berlin? The young people don't feel the same way about America or Russia or communism. You can't make these new Germans hate people in the same way as their grandfathers. They don't hate. You can't make the new Iranian hate Americans. They don't have the hate in them. This is what's, the caliphate is dying because the younger generation will not buy in. This would happen in Germany and Berlin. And the Berlin Wall in Germany, the younger people won't buy in, bro. The young Iranian just doesn't feel the same way about Islam. The young Iranian sees itself as, I can be a good Muslim and I don't have to hate gay people. I can be a good Muslim. I don't have to hate my sister. This is what's happening. The same thing happened in Germany. And I just know a lot of my shit is over your head. Shout out to the homie who said 1989. That was 1989. That was Ronald Reagan, Gorbachev, tear down that wall. And today, 30-year-olds don't even know. There's no desire to go back to a communist Germany and a socialist Berlin Wall. Y'all know how fucked up that was? It was families. The Berlin Wall separated families. I remember movies and espionage and people crying and people couldn't see their Remember the Berlin Wall separated. It was some fucked up shit. It was some shit that like came out of a comic book. Like when you think about it now, if we tried to really explain it to the kids, they'd be like, damn, why did y'all do that? Y'all was some fucked up people. You did that to your own grandmother? What the fuck was it about? Why did you have a Berlin Wall? If we gave details of how that oppression and then how that shit was on in real time, our young people would cry, bro. The kids of today couldn't deal with no shit like that. They don't know what we grew up with. That was some fucked up shit. Living in the Berlin Wall. I liken it to living under the IRGC regime, where they beat a Kurdish woman. They unalived Marsha Amini. She wasn't even Muslim, y'all. She wasn't even Muslim. She was a Kurdish woman. She had on a hijab, but they said she wasn't wearing it correctly. I bet you they fuck with her because she wasn't Muslim. The Berlin Wall, what took place, the horrendous shit that took place in Germany, I am juxtaposing that to the Iranian regime. Straight up. Kumar, you're out of here. You're out of here, Kumar. You're out of here, Kumar. Hey, I love you guys. I see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. We did a live stream every day this week. I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who subscribed, everybody who joined the channel. Eric gave a $2 super chat. I know people who be watching me like, he get excited over $2. Yes. I am very thankful for that $2 super chat. It made me happy. It got me excited. And YouTube keeps most of that money. I don't really get that money. When it's only $2, it don't go to me. It's not enough money. YouTube will keep that $2. But I'm still so very appreciative, so very thankful. Straight up. I'm so very thankful. I don't believe in that Jewish hate stuff, man. I don't believe in that Jewish hate stuff, man. I think you support a man who wants to invade Canada and Cuba, pathetic. The lack of intelligence. We're not invading Cuba, boy. Cuba is dying on the vine. We don't have to invade Cuba. We don't have to invade Cuba. We're not invading Cuba. We're not invading Canada. We don't have to. They're broke. We don't have to invade Cuba. We don't have to invade Canada. You do need to read a little bit more, though. You do need to read a little bit more. You do need to read a little bit more. But you don't have to read to do your Trump hate. It does not require intelligence to do your Trump hate. Right? So, man, I'm very happy. I'm very blessed. I'm very happy. I'm very blessed. I'm very excited. I'm very thankful. God bless the chat. God bless the YouTube algorithm. God bless everybody that came through and supported. God bless the President Trump. God bless the memory of Charlie Kirk. God bless America. Thank you again, everybody. Eric for the $2 super chat. Everybody that subscribed. Everybody that joined the channel. Eric, for that $2, man, you should become a member, man. Next time, Eric, I'm going to just say, I love when you donate. Keep doing the super chat. But, man, you could become a member for $5 a month, 25 cents a day. And that's a great way to support the channel. I would love people like Eric. If you take the time out to donate to the channel, I would love for people like you to become a member, because my goal is when we get enough members, we're going to have a member-only live stream. And that live stream will be able to put the link in the chat and let people come up on the panel and share their opinions. You can have a one-on-one conversation with me. And because, you know, we get a lot of trolls and shit, so it's hard to interact. But Eric, join the channel, become a member. A lot of people today were supportive. Join the channel, become a member, and let's do some members-only live streams. Hold me to it. I need people to join the channel, become members, and then watch the show every day at 1 p.m. And when you come in and say, perfect, I got my membership. When we doing the member live, that's what I want to see. I want you to come in the chat, say, perfect, I got my membership. When we doing the members live, right? That's what I need. Shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you, bro. This is a good person right here too, man. You gotta join the channel. Who this person? Yara Blacks. I can't say it. Gas Clan. You was fucking with it today. You was fucking with it, man. Join the channel, man. Hit the subscribe. When you hit the subscribe, hit the plus sign. We got a Somalian special, $5 a month. We are the world. We are the children. Somalians came here and stole 19 billion. They built Leary centers. The children didn't lear shit. But you can join my channel for less than a fifth. F-I-F, fifth. They built Leary centers. The children didn't lear shit. They put Leary Center. The children didn't lear shit. But you can join my channel for less than a fifth. FIF, fifth. Everybody want to keep talking about the Southern Poverty Law Center. I saw the news. I'm purposely not talking about it. I really don't give a fuck about the control opposition. I'm black. Like, we know, like, I don't give a fuck about that. If y'all notice, only white boys is hella much happy about that Southern Law Poverty Center bullshit. That's some white boy shit. Do you guys understand why the white boys keep bringing this shit up? The white boys bring this shit up for the same reason that other white boys said that shit in the chat about, why are you talking about racism in 2026? There's no racism in 2026. So all the white boys are seeing this, and the white boys are trying to use this to say there's no such thing as racism. And there's just some racist ass white boys, Tim Pool, all of these racist ass white boys, and they think it's funny. Southern Law Poverty Center was giving money to the KKK. The KKK, the government was so. Does that mean that the people that they were giving money to were not racist? You guys are such fucking simpletons. Because the government was giving racist white boys money does not make them less racist. Why do I gotta say this shit? It's like low level, so low level. I'm gonna say it again. Hello, racist white men. Racist small dick white men. Simply because the government was giving racist white men money does not make those racist white men less racist. God damn. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? These fucking white boys get on my fucking nerves, man. And fucking white boy get on my fucking nerves, man. Oh, the Southern Law Poverty Center, and they gave them money. Does that make them any less racist? That just means the government is racist, and as a black man, I could have told you that the government is racist. Huh? And as a black man, I could have told you the government is racist. It doesn't make the people who got the money any less racist. They pay actors, so actually it does. What's wrong with y'all, man? Come on, Johnny, bro. And didn't pay no actors, man. White people is racist. Bro, white people is racist, bro. Come on, bro. This is funny, bro. They pay actors, so actually it does. So because a racist white government, this is why I do system collapse, systemic racism. So because, and this is what black people say, that there is systemic racism in the government. Like the government, there are racist white people, there are racist white systems that are legislated, that are prejudiced against blacks. Straight up. Here, this is an example of a government system, a white racist system that is funneling money to other white races. And somehow you think that absolves the race. Imagine if you wasn't white, though. You know, this is like the fish in water. But what if you're not white, Johnny? What if you're not white? And this is something you already knew because you're not white. It's like women when they talk about men. You know, women know certain things about men. Like when you're not white, you know certain things about white people. So you're telling me, as someone who's not white, that okay, the government is racist, which black people already knew. The government is racist and cheats and creates control opposition, i.e., giving money to white racist groups so they can in turn get more money, which in turn perpetuates racism and keeps blacks down. Are you understanding what happened? This government entity, which is a white racist system, Systemic racism, which people like you and white people say don't exist, but this is an example of systemic racism. So this government entity, racist white systemic racism government entity, is giving money to racist white people to help facilitate hate in order for it to get more money. You don't, it's just like the Somalians and the fraud. You don't see how this is reciprocal and it makes hate exacerbate, it grows hate. In this system, hate becomes like this evil virus that continues to build upon its own evil. Southern Law Poverty Center gives the money, they get more money. I give you more money, you do more hate, I get more money. I give you more money, you do more hate, I get more money. Do you realize there is something at the end of that hate train? Hey, I get money, I give it to you, you do hate. People like me get hurt. A white woman got unalived that day. I get more money. Listen to this, Southern Poverty Law Center, I get more money now because you have risen your hate. You're doing more hate crimes. So I can argue for more money. And then that will in turn allow me to give you more money, which you can do more hate. This is systemic racism. This is why I'm not talking about it. This is why don't you get something so simple? This is systemic racism. Systemic. Systemic is a system, a circular. This is systemic. And it creates this big ball that rolls over blacks. It creates this big ball of wax that rolls over Blacks Americans in multiple ways, because the Southern Law Poverty Center is supposed to protect me, but instead it's protecting its own interests and creating more hate, which in turn ends up hurting me. So a system that's supposed to protect me actually hurts me and perpetuates itself off of my pain. That's what systemic racism is, that these systems are in place and they are perpetuated off of my pain, off of my death. What are you smoking, bro? Southern Law Poverty Center gives white racist money. They go do hate. That justifies the Southern Law Poverty Center getting more money. They give white racists more money so they can do more hate, so they can get more money, and it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. Man, they weren't just racist, just being paid to be. Are you high? Are you high? So now white people aren't racist unless they're paid? You think white people need money to be racist? Holy fucking shit. This is why the world is fucked up, because it's this stupidity. That's not how racism works. You know, if you wanted to save money, because somewhere I need a racist white boy to come in the chat, because this is just a dummy. You can save a lot of money because there's a lot of racist white boys out there that would do it for free. They could have saved a lot of money. And the so funny part is you don't get the idiotic, the logic, the illogical idiotic. It's just so funny. You don't get how stupid that is. That's what makes it more funny. Well, guess what? Guess what? It's like saying you got to pay me to like pussy. You don't have to pay me to like pussy. I like pussy. You got to pay white boys to be right. I love you, bro. I love you, Johnny. You gotta pay white boys to be. Oh shit, this the best show. This the best show. W chat. W chat. W chat. Johnny said only racist white boys are the ones who being paid, and they're not really racist because they were paid. Holy fucking shit. Holy moly guacamole, Batman. It's truly generational matter to consider I am suffering presently for the heinous systemic racism crimes I would suffer as a former civil servant commit the 70s and extend theater to present time for cause of cover up of constructs beyond belief. Maybe that's why the CDC gets grant money, because it's an insidious disease. You know, you make a good point about the CDC. But we ain't gonna talk about that because I don't know. You know, Fauci was just in the news too. Because if you look at what happened with the whole thing in the time that will not be named, I mean, ain't that how Big Pharma works? When you make the comparison to the Southern Law when you make the comparison of the Southern Law Poverty Center and the CDC, I mean, what other government agencies work like this and do this? I argue they all do this because they don't care about the human cost. The racist white men who got the money and the Southern Law Poverty Center that gave them the money, that benefited from getting more money, none of them care about the human cost and who gets caught in the middle. The black people who have to pay, and that's just the human cost. And it's been like that as a Black American for a long time. They put us in prisons and private prisons. One of the reasons I love Trump is because Trump said for the first time, his war on drugs will not be locking up Black Americans. This is the first time ever. This is why I love Trump. Trump said we're going to fight a war on drugs, but we're not going to lock up Black Americans. We're going to go to South America, and we're going to tell South American countries that if you don't stop shipping cocaine and fentanyl into our country, we're going to kick your fucking ass. First president to ever fight the drug war. Every other president, Democrat and Republican, when they fight the drug war, they put Black men in prison. No one goes to Colombia. No one goes to Bolivia. No one stops the drugs from coming here. No one stops the guns, the Israeli Uzis, the Russian AK-47s. Nope, they just lock up Black men. Trump is the first president to say, let's stop the cocaine before it get here. Let's blow up the drug boats. Let's go after cartels in Colorado. Let's go after Mexican cartel gangs in New Orleans and Memphis. Let's go after Mexican cartel leaders in Los Angeles. To me, that's a drug war. That's fighting a drug war to me. And everyone, this is why I know Democrats hate Blacks. The Democrats hate Blacks and hate everyone that's in poverty. Because the Democrats said, we don't want Trump coming to LA. When Trump was coming to LA to arrest cartel leaders, they told Karen Bass, Tom Homan had a meeting with Karen Bass and said, on Friday, we're going to do some raids. He gave the LA mayor a heads up. He came in on Wednesday to Los Angeles and said, on Friday, I'm going to be raiding in downtown Los Angeles some of those counterfeit stores that sell counterfeit Louis Vuitton purses. He told her, I'm going to raid the store because they use the money from the counterfeit Louis Vuitton purses to fund terrorism, cartels, and drugs in America. And he said, if I can take out these counterfeit shops in LA, we can cripple them as far as their money is concerned, and they won't have as much influence in American cities. Guess what the LA mayor did? The LA mayor warned the cartel members. The LA mayor told the cartel that the government is coming to raid your stores. And guess what the cartel did? They created a bunch of fake protests. And ever since that day, you've been hearing fuck ICE and Latino Americans. This was all propaganda. Because I told you that we have a problem with Middle Easterners coming across the border in 2022, driving tractor trailer trucks. It's not about Latin Americans. We have Chinese who came across in 2022. We have Middle Easterners who came across in 2022. But after that day in Los Angeles, what Tom Homan spoke with the Los Angeles mayor about raiding the counterfeit shops. All of us have bought fake Louis Vuitton purse. When you go to Disneyland, you know what you do? You buy a fake Louis Vuitton. Because downtown Los Angeles, they have fake Louis Vuitton and Birkin bags that are made in the same plant. You can't tell the difference. You know why you can't tell the difference? Because it's made in the same plant that they make the real Louis Vuitton. That's why you can go to LA, buy a Louis Vuitton purse, go back to Ohio, and no one knows it's a fake Louis Vuitton purse. It's made in the same place. Tom Homan told Karen Bass, LA mayor, we raiding these counterfeit shops. We know what they're doing with the money. He warned them. That is why you had the protests in LA. She warned them. She later admitted that she told them. Tom Homan couldn't believe it. It basically put the ICE agents in danger. Because when the ICE agents, the same thing happened in Minnesota. This is why people got hurt in Minnesota. Because the politicians told the people where the ICE agents would be, and the ICE agents were put in unsafe conditions. So when the Los Angeles mayor told the Latinos what was happening, they started these riots, and the ICE agents weren't safe enough to do their jobs. Yeah, I get held too. I get held too. But I still do the work. Like my wife said, don't fucking quit. My wife always telling me don't fucking quit. And today's been a rough week, but sometimes the algorithm has a downturn. Yeah, answer the phone. I see y'all tomorrow at 1. Hey, baby.
Oh, Daddy.
Hey, Doodle.
I need work.
Huh?